welcome into the stream, my lovely chatters. How are you doing? It's great to see you all in the chat. Welcome in. Happy Monday. I am currently experiencing one of the best things ever.
It's me,
Whoa, Sawyer Enjoyer!
Thanks for the money.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the £6.66. Thank you for subbing off Twitch. Thank you for supporting me and the stream. How are you doing? It's good to see you. Thank you for all the chat redeems as well. I'll get on the blue fella and the stretch in a minute. Excuse me. And the hydrate. But, as I said, I'm currently experiencing something extremely good. And it's very exciting. And I'm very, very happy with it. Before I tell you about that, welcome in, everybody. We got Frazo. Thank you for the lurk. We got Ninny. We got Middle-earth Marxist. We have got Sam Outside. We got B-Rat. We got Sawyer Enjoyer, obviously. We got Network. We got Val. We got Steph. We got Gumba Master. We got... Did I say Network? Hello. How are you all doing? It's good to see you. It's really, really good to see you. I want it on record that my prediction for the next bullshit tech trend is quantum computing for 2026, 2030, after the AI bubble crashes. What do you think quantum computing is going to be lauded as? What do you think it's gonna? How do you think they're gonna dress it up to make whatever product it is look like quantum computing? Because you're right. Here's the thing: most people don't understand what quantum computing is, so it makes a lot of sense that they would do this, right? Create product that sounds really technologically advanced, so that whenever you like present it to people, people go, "Oh, that's what it is. I guess it's great because I don't understand what it's supposed to be." So yeah, they'll say that they'll need quantum computing to make all the AI they've cryptoed away work. Yeah, a fast connection to the internet. Yeah, could be, right? Could be. Hello, Husker. Just ate some bomb-ass Mexican food. Don't know what it was, though. That's always the best, isn't it? It's not, because then you can't have it again. You don't know what it is. And you have to wait for 10 years before you have it again. And you go, that's what that is. I really liked this 10 years ago. Gumba Master says, I got into Ghost Theory thanks to you now. Legendary. They're great. They're really good. They're really, really good. They're good because they are not like sensationalist. Elliot is a bit different than Joe, because Joe is very like, oh, hang on a minute, that could just be this, that could just be that, and Elliot's like, that's fucking paranormal. He just loves to say that in every episode. He's like, that was definitely paranormal. So yeah, a very, very good YouTube channel in the vast swath of, you know, paranormal ghost hunting YouTube channels that like do insane fake shit, and it's like so annoying. It's just so annoying. When you're actually interested in this stuff, it's like you just get so pissed off and annoyed. What else have we got? Spent 2 hours trying to make Fallout New Vegas stop crashing. That sucks. Have you got a lot of mods going on? Yeah, B-Rat straight away uninstall 90% of the mods. I don't have any mods. Oh. Shit, I don't have any advice. That's normally what it is. If you remember that, it's a patch to manually install to be it works on modern computers. Ah, there you go. Probably they're gonna have non-functional quantum computers and then tons of actual computers to verify the quantum results in real time or something, right? Yes, possibly. Yeah. They're just two guys getting scared in old houses. That is the fun bit of the content, right? Because whatever the noises are, whether they're paranormal or not, they do get scared. Like when they just go, and they're like staring at each other. They're because they hold cameras on each other to prove that they're not faking it, right? Like sometimes Joe has got like 2 cameras, one pointed at Elliot and one pointed at whatever he thinks people should see. And it's just so fucking funny that they're every 10 minutes it'll just be this. and they're like trying to listen for what the sounds are. It's just great. Great! What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? What else do we miss in the chat? I love ghost hunting stuff. These sound really fun. Had it on a tab since stream. Hoping for a moment to watch it. In the earlier episodes, they do like a couple I identify as cringe jokes, but that doesn't last very long. So, yeah, don't worry about that. They're definitely more woke and good than you'd think that they are. They're just normal guys. I moved into my first place on the 5th. Happy I finally don't have to share an air fryer. Caspi, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Thank you. And thank you so much for the Prime sub. I saw that you subbed to me on Prime 2 days ago. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. I wasn't even live. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They're just innocent men. They're just normal men. Right, so I'll tell you about the thing that I'm really excited about. You all know that I've been having adventures with Satan, and if you were in the Discord the other day, you will have seen that, you know, I had been preparing to try chicken seitan. The brisket barbecue beef seitan that I tried was very bad. I had to throw half of it away because it was too hard, right? It was very, very tough and hard. And it was so annoyingly tough to eat, tough to cook. The digestion was terrible. I got like mad indigestion from it. Not a great result, right? But the chicken seitan I've made today is, well, I made it yesterday. It is so much better. Holy fucking shit. And it was so much easier to make as well. Like, all you need really is just like veg stock, you know, a couple of spices, like, I don't know, chicken seasoning, shit like that. And I think the key difference is that I simmered this in stock after I'd like formed the dough, fried it, so that gave it like a nice crunchy outside texture, and then into a pot of stock simmered it for an hour, and then let it cool down in the stock, put it in the fridge in the pan with the stock overnight, 24 hours. I think that was the trick, because it's really like tender. When I'm chewing it at some points, I'm like, this might as well be chicken. I'm not saying that it's exactly like chicken, and I don't think you're ever gonna get like something that's seitan that tastes exactly like chicken. It isn't what the recipe said it was gonna be, but it's still good. So I'm so happy with it. It's absolutely, this is it. I'm in my fucking seitan era. I'm in my fucking vegan era. Really excited about it. Gonna get back to the gym. Yeah, very good. Does it feel like corn? You know what, Steph? I haven't eaten enough corn to like know. What I do know is that like there's a when you're chewing it, like, because I've got like quite big chunks of it in my curry that I've got here, and I've got quite big chunks of it, and you know, when you're chewing it, when you first bite into it, it's like that might as well be chicken, but then as you chew it more and more and more, then it starts to break down a bit, and you can feel, oh yeah, that's just like basically like a funny kind of bread, right? But I think that's only because I know how I made it, right? You know, it's like a super soggy bread that's stock flavored. But yeah, no, I'm super happy with it. Yeah, really good stuff. I'm just gonna have a couple more bites. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Oh, I'm so happy with it. You know, because it doesn't taste immediately like flavorless nothing, and I think that's the soaking in the stock overnight, the simmering and the soaking in the stock. And you know what? There's even like a point where like you don't really have to chew it that much in order for it to like still taste like have the texture of chicken. I think that's the key thing. It has like the texture of chicken, right? Hello Link, how you doing? Mule getting me excited for my own health this upcoming year. Hell yeah, good stuff. What can I start with? Question for chat. Anyone watch the streamer awards? Anyone stay up late on Saturday night watching that, or early, depending on where you are in the world? Give me your answers and then I'll have a chew. We watch a video on how to cook it, yeah. We can watch that right now. There were streamer awards. I'm glad that yous don't know what it is. I am glad that yous don't know what it is because it was bad.
This vegan seitan trend is so legit, and I'm really excited to see it trending right now. But I'm going to show you a much easier way to.
This is the way I made it because there was a vegan seitan trend that was like the washing flour method. And I tried the washing flour method, and it's very, very messy and very hard. And I was looking for ages for someone who uses just straight vital wheat gluten, right? Where it's just processed and you just like don't have the, you know? Yeah, 70-80% protein, that's what I mean. This is the same stuff that I've got. And if you like chuck a bit of chickpea flour in, like that's the only different thing that I did to this recipe. She doesn't put in any chickpea flour. I put in like half a cup of chickpea flour. I did like 4 cups, or was it 3? I did 400 grams. 400 grams of vital wheat gluten flour, and then like half a cup of chickpea flour. And then I used about half a liter of stock to make the dough. And I just do exactly what she does here.
I'm going to use this vital wheat gluten flour, which has about 70 to 80% protein in it. So you don't have to go through the whole kneading and washing process because the flour already has.
That's like a key thing. Don't knead it. Don't bother kneading it at all. That was like the mistake that I made with the last stuff.
Starch granules removed with lots of protein left behind. Once the dough is made, I'll cover it.
I would say you don't even have to do what she's doing here.
Let it sit for about 20 minutes before seasoning it. I'm going to use this chickenless seasoning salt and some paprika. I like to add a little bit, then knead it in some more so that it's evenly dispersed, which is hard to do with one hand.
The difference that I did here is I put all my seasoning in before I like mix the dough with the water. Also, I've just noticed, I don't think she uses stock. I think she just uses water.
The dough's kind of weird to me, but we're just going to kind of go with it. Like, how weird does this look? I'm going to use the twisting and then knotting method to get some nice texture to the seitan. I'm going to add it to
and then I did the fry thing. I actually didn't do mine in 2 balls, which maybe would make a difference. I don't know. I did mine in like one big fucking like... I was like, yeah, this is like a full chicken, right? Like a whole chicken you get from the shop.
Minutes on each side to get a nice crust. And
then you do it in the thingy.
Broth. I really love making seitan. It's just so simple to make if you use the vital wheat gluten. It's shreddable and versatile in so many ways. And even if you aren't, my dogs are convinced that. Yeah,
so the only difference that I did with mine was literally, like I said, leave it in the fridge overnight in the stock. So like this stock that you're boiling it in, just like keep it in there, let it cool down, put it in the fridge, 24 hours. It's great. I think maybe that's why mine doesn't like shred apart easy like that. Like it is like a bit tough to cut. And I was like, fuck, I've done it again. Like, because that was the struggle with the last lot, right? It was tough to cut. I was like, this is just a pain in the ass. Had to get a bread knife to cut this like seitan steak that I made, and it was like, oh my god, this is such an effort. I don't want to do this every day. This fucking sucks. I need to make it differently. So I did, I did this one instead, and it was much better. But even though it was tough to cut, it's still fine. Like it's not tough to eat. And all I did was like I just cooked it as you would cook regular chicken. So you could just substitute this for any fucking recipe you want. That's got regular chicken in it, and yeah, it'll just work the same. And I'm really excited about that because I've been looking at a bunch of new recipes recently. Like I've recently learned how to make a type of jerk chicken. I would never say I know how to make jerk chicken because every family has like a different recipe and shit. But I checked out this one guy. He's so good. I'm gonna get some of his videos up. Feed and Teach. Check out this guy. He makes some fucking top videos. I'll show you the jerk chicken one. Obviously, I'm not gonna use real chicken for this. But I'm gonna do this like with seitan basically and see if it works. Soy curls are really good too for instant shredded vegan chicken. Yeah, but I'm looking to get that high protein. That's the difference with the seitan. Icken trugs. Also high icken trugs. Chickpea protein 50-50 will be better chickeny texture. Yeah, I heard that that's the case as well, right? That was the different thing that I did. I don't know if I would like increase it to 50-50 I would probably just keep it at like, I think it was like less than a quarter. It's about a fifth of the mixture. You know, like half a cup, 400 grams of vital wheat gluten, and then half a cup, like I say, which is about 50 grams, I think, of chickpea flour. Yeah, so that's why I've been using seitan, because I want to get that like extra protein out of it. Soy just doesn't have it, sadly. Also, I have a bit of an intolerance to soy.
Extremely juicy. Everything jerk chicken should be. And in true feed and teeth style, we're breaking down how to maximize the flavor of this phenomenal dish. Here I have 2 chickens that I butchered and cleaned up with a bit of vinegar solution. First, I'm going to season them with salt, black pepper, and a bit of all-purpose seasoning. Most all-purpose seasonings will work, so choose your favorite. Or skip it altogether, you'll still get a great jerk chicken. This is typical for jerk chicken, especially street style. It's cut into quarters with almost zero waste. I'm just seasoning lightly to add that initial layer of flavor. This recipe gives us multiple opportunities to add more flavor later, so go easy here. Next, massage the chicken pieces to distribute that seasoning.
Just get like some big chunks of the seitan, or just make like a fresh batch and just season it like this and marinate it, right?
That chicken is looking great so far, but we can't have jerk without the jerk season.
Now, this is the key. This is the key. Chat, get ready. If you've not had your dinner, just get on Deliveroo straight away, or like, I don't know, go to the kitchen and get something to eat, because you're going to watch this and you're going to be like, bro.
You can use store-bought, and I'll explain the caveats in a second, but for the best flavor and control,
I'm literally about to say that, network, yeah.
Homemade jerk marinade blend. I'll link a detailed recipe below that breaks down what makes a proper jerk marinade, ingredients, substitutions, the whole works.
Oh, mate, I can't wait to try this.
Typical calls for onion, scallion, garlic, fresh ginger, fresh thyme, because of course dry thyme is a scam.
Oh, look how much time he's slamming in.
Generous amounts of pimento, aka allspice. Orange juice for those citrus notes. I like to use a freshly squeezed one.
I do not apologize for asking for food videos.
Brown sugar, black pepper,
the way,
browning, bonus if it's homemade, a good quality soy sauce, red beer or another lager, cane vinegar, and a bit of freshly grated nutmeg. I also added a splash of oil. Now all that's left is to give this a rough blend. A few of you who tried this said the flavor is even better after sitting for a day. I usually prep this ahead of time, so I never really noticed that. But there's a tip to help you max out your jerk flavor. And that's our jerk marinade. It's an incredible,
you just know that's going to be so
a lot of versatility. All of that is covered in the link video, so make sure you check it out.
Season it like that.
Our chicken,
put the jerk seasoning on, jerk marinade on
each quarter. That's enough to coat each piece nicely. Most store-bought marinade have a really high salt content, so you can't be as generous as this. If I'm using store-bought jerk and I have some green seasoning, I add a bit to balance out the salt and bring in extra flavor.
How long does the seasoning last in the fridge? I imagine because it's got because it's got beer in it, it'll probably last a bit longer than it would normally, right? Because the alcohol will keep like some germs away. There's not a lot of beer in it, but I imagine the alcohol will keep a certain amount away.
You can tell from those nighttime sounds that
Aslam with the 25 months. Aslan, thank you so much.
djmuel jam, djmuel jam, djmuel jam.
That's how you know. That's how you know it's DJ Mule Jam. Thank you so much for the sub, dude. How you doing? Good to see you.
I'm prepping this really late. Next,
hey Tejan. Could freeze it into cubes. That's true. We can chunks yet.
Everything gets seasoned properly. If you feel like you went light in a couple of areas, you can always come back with more jerk marinade. Yeah, you can really go heavy with the homemade stuff without any issues. For OG jerk, the chicken is placed in buckets or large containers and submerged under a ton of jerk season overnight. That marinade is sometimes reused a couple of times to capture all that incredible flavor again and again. Now, I'm going to transfer everything into a larger pan. Between the citric acid from the orange, the acetic acid from the vinegar, carbonic acid from the beer, and the tenderizing power of onion, scallion, ginger, and garlic, plus the soy sauce and salt, this marinade doesn't just flavor the chicken, it makes it incredibly tender and juicy. To maximize all those tenderizing properties, we need to marinate this for at least a couple of hours, but ideally overnight.
I wonder what the difference between chicken and seitan would be for the marination time. I imagine you just want to leave it overnight again.
All those ingredients need time to work together. So, I'm going to let this sit in the fridge, and then tomorrow we'll make some jerk chicken. While that marinates, let me show you a really quick shredded vegetable side that complements your jerk chicken really well. Start with about 2 cups of shredded cabbage, about 1 cup of purple cabbage for a pop of color, a cup of shredded carrot, and about a cup of shredded cucumber. Season with salt, black pepper, and a bit of sugar. Next, add about a cup of vinegar. I'm using cane vinegar, but other types work too. Customize it to your taste. Now, I'm tossing everything together just to mix in all those flavors. This is sort of like a coleslaw without the mayo. It adds a lot of bright, fresh, refreshing flavors that help temper the heat and balance that deep, intense flavor of jerk. The vegetables will shrink and release a ton of water, but they'll still stay nice and crisp. Give it a taste to check the flavors. This should lean more acidic with light seasoning. Ooh, that's nice and crunchy.
Hey Luna.
It's way too acidic though, so I'm adding a bit more sugar. It could also use a little bit more salt. You know what else this could use? A bit of fresh basil, just to give it some fragrance. Getting consistent fresh herbs is a pain, so I've been working on my little potted herb garden. I've got a few herbs I really love. We all know dry time is a scam, and you really can't get fresher than this. You can't get cheaper either. Fresh herbs are pretty pricey. I'm also trying to grow some tomatoes and a few of my favorite hot peppers. Anyway, let's jump back into the kitchen in case you forgot this was a cooking video. I made sure to give the basil a proper rinse. Flies are the worst. Make sure you use a sharp knife when cutting basil, so you're actually cutting.
I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to get it so he's in it.
Do the trick.
I want him to be in the stream so bad.
Really nice aroma to the veggies. It kicks it up a level. Give that another taste. Yup, that's really good. Growing my own basil actually inspired me to try it in this slaw, and it worked pretty well. Alright, it's time to get back to the chicken. That smells so much more intense now. Yup, marinating overnight makes a huge difference. Let's get these charred. I'm placing my grill pan on medium heat and adding a splash of oil. Adding some color and char to the chicken gives it a huge flavor boost. Let that pan get smoking hot. We're not trying to cook the chicken all the way here, just char it. I made sure to remove the excess season from each piece since that tends to burn faster than the chicken itself. I'm starting with the Thai quarters because they take the longest to cook, so I'm giving them a head start. Right now is to get a deep char on these. Starting on high heat.
Just wait for him to come back and see if it works.
Flavor. You wanna know?
Right. So people came in while I was messing around with the cat cam. Hello, Morton. How you doing? Welcome in. Who else we got? Luna. Hello. Anyone else? No, that's it. Okay. How you doing? Good to see you. There's a genetic reason why some people don't like coleslaw. Some people don't like coleslaw other than taste bud attached to a human being that isn't. Some people like coleslaw and others have taste buds that are attached to a human being that isn't living their life to the fullest. I thought you were going to go with like the cilantro thing then. I was like, oh, I'm learning something today.
Flavor. Splashing
but nah.
I'm using lemon flavored red stripe light for a little twist, but other lagers work great too. That lemon flavor adds a little extra something to the jerk. So if you can find this one, definitely give it a try.
So yeah, the boy started chilling in this little cat tree, little hutch thing again. And I was like, yes, oh my God, I got to sort this out before the stream on Monday. And I completely fucking forgot. Completely forgot.
Yes, man, that's it.
Isn't coleslaw an American thing? I don't know.
Once you get that beautiful color, we can take them off the heat and place them on a baking tray. One thing I forgot to mention, you want your kitchen to be well ventilated if you're doing this. Charring creates a lot of smoke, and those spices will have you sneezing and coughing, so crack open a window, or even better, do this part outside. Even though you won't get all those smoky grill flavors, you could place your marinated chicken straight into the oven to bake. Just make sure to give it a couple minutes on high heat first to build some nice color on the outside. Between each batch, I'm removing all those loose burnt seasonings from the grill pan. Next, I'm grilling the breast quarters. While these do their thing, I'm going to splash some extra beer on the thigh quarters before they go into the oven. That bit of beer
I'm gonna sort this out, chat. I'm gonna get it done.
Nice and cooks more easily.
It's gonna happen.
It also prevents the skin from getting too burnt and bitter. This goes into the oven.
Isn't coleslaw an American thing? Maybe, yeah.
For about 40 minutes. Our breast quarters are looking really nice too. We didn't use a grill or any wood smoke, but if you give this jerk chicken to someone, they wouldn't be able to.
Don't look at my disgusting walls.
If you don't have a grill pan like I do, you could still make this using a regular skillet to sear the chicken pieces. With this recipe, you don't need to set up a grill or jerk pan to get incredible jerk. Granted, you don't get those deeper smoky flavors, but everything else about this jerk more than makes up for it. These are done and they're looking very nice. I'm giving them the same treatment as the thigh quarters. A big splash of that lemon flavored beer. I just can't get over that delicious smell.
Hey, there's a lot of tension on it.
Excellent, but they need a bit more time. Now, I've got a bit of jerk marinade left from seasoning the chicken, and in keeping with the minimal waste theme of this video, we're going to use it for something special. In a saucepan on medium heat, start with a splash of oil. Add a couple tablespoons of brown sugar.
Is that all I'm getting?
To let that caramelize. I use this technique a lot for many of my Jamaican style sauces. Caramelized sugar adds depth and gives a more savory kind of sweetness to whatever you use it in. Let that go until it starts getting frothy.
Okay,
Adjust
that might work.
If needed so it doesn't burn.
That might work.
Next, add the leftover jerk marinade from the chicken.
Oh, this is the chat. This is the real shit. This is the real shit right here. Fuck, this is like such a good idea.
Marinade will
just turn it into a proper gravy
and keep the sugar from burning.
Hello, Morgana. How you doing?
Come on, buddy. I'm letting this reduce to cook off all the excess liquid. This step really concentrates the flavor. Normally I would use a regular red stripe here, but that lemon flavored one is incredible. So I'm pouring in the whole bottle. That's going to deglaze the pot and add a unique citrusy twist to the sauce. For a bit more acidity, body and flavor, I'm adding about a cup of ketchup. Then for a fruity citrus boost, I'm squeezing in the juice of one orange.
Oh yeah.
I just squeeze it in seeds.
Oh mamma mia.
I plan to strain this later, but it was so good I completely forgot. So yeah, I've got a sauce in my fridge right now with orange seeds floating around. Finally, I'm adding a big splash of soy sauce.
Go on, buddy.
That gives us some extra salt, which is enough to season the whole thing.
Yeah,
now
he's
I'm
in.
going to let this simmer on low heat so all those flavors can come together and concentrate.
Right.
But we're not done yet. Our thigh quarters are done.
Hopefully he's going to settle.
We've got some pan juices.
Yeah, he's going in. That's how you know.
So we're adding them straight to the sauce to capture
there
everything.
he is.
No, I'm letting it all reduce and thicken on low heat.
There he is.
Our breast quarters are also ready. So I'm going to pour those juices into the sauce as well.
Great. That's perfect, chat.
Good. But
that's absolutely perfect.
I'm taking some of that.
I think he prefers it that way.
Sauce and using it to glaze the chicken. I'm going to put it back into the oven for a few minutes on high heat to caramelize. That's going to give us a much more flavorful skin. The breast pieces are getting some love. Don't be shy with the sauce. And when you're done, just pour any extra back into the saucepan for even more flavor. If you were wondering what that knife was all this
I love
time,
that that's working.
Making sweet potato wedges. Raw sweet potatoes are more traditional with jerk, but
okay,
today
chat.
I'm switching it up and frying them.
We're not always going to be able to see his head.
That starchy sweetness pairs
but it's
perfectly
okay
with the rich spicy jerk. I'm just slicing them into wedges and frying. No salt.
Hey, Beanie Gamey, what's up?
Needed.
He's the
These
sweetest,
are
yeah.
absolutely
He's such a
delicious.
cutie. Little baby man.
Wow. Damn. That looks so good. The smell is intense. I've cooked a lot of jerk chicken in a lot of different ways, but this one might be my favorite.
Bad man. Yeah, I love this guy's channel. He also I was watching this one last night. And I'm definitely gonna try it. Like, I'm just gonna try it. Let me see. Why am I not subbed? I got a sub to this guy. He's great. He is great. Is it just gonna pop up, or am I gonna have to find it? Wow. Bro, look at all the scran he makes. Where's the one I was watching last night? Maybe it's an old one. Here we go.
This is a
oh yeah. Oh, the boy, look at him.
Ginger beer at home.
Oh, that's actually a really good angle. Oh, chat, it's a great angle. You can just see him and he's chilling. Yes. Right, listen, here's the deal. Yeah, here's the deal. I've sorted out Tom Cam. He comes back in now. Yeah. Comes back in. And he chills with us in the stream. But you know the score. It's £25. Yeah, per day to unlock the cat cam. That's how it works, yeah? You want to see cat? You got to give me that. And you're also paying for amazing wordplay like that. So that's how you know it's a good stream. Anyway, let's check out how to make some fucking Jamaican ginger beer. I'm actually going to try this. Not sure how effective it will be over winter. I think maybe I just got to put it in like somewhere that would be warm. I don't know. Like just next to the radiator or something. But yeah.
No fancy gear, no long ingredients list, just sugar, ginger and thyme. I'll show you how to make it from scratch.
Sugar, ginger and thyme.
Ginger beer, and even how to turn it into homemade fruit sodas. So let's get it.
Like this for me is what I've been wanting to do for like such a long time, because it's like I do love fizzy drinks. Like I started to really enjoy fizzy drinks, and the problem with fizzy drinks is that they're full of fucking sugar, right? That's the problem. You get like a big thing of fizzy fucking Iron Brew or whatever, and it's just full of sugar, man. Like you're just not escaping it unless you get the zero sugar. But in the zero sugar, they got all kinds of like mad carcinogenic nonsense in there, right? Krill with the £25. Thank you so much for subbing off Twitch. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. We've unlocked the cat cam. That's how it works. There he fucking is. We've got him for the rest of the stream. He's giving us slow blinks. Fucking yes, come on. That's what you want. That's what you want. All right, yeah, we got cat cam for the rest of the stream. There he is. He's my sweet boy. Oh, he's such a sweet boy. Look at him. Oh, you don't even know. How do you know what's going on? You just don't. Oh. Sorry, I just can't help it. He's just so unbelievably cute. All right, yeah, let's crack on. Let's watch this. I was thinking about making ginger beer. Hey, Cavero, how you doing?
Similar to a sourdough starter, a ginger bug is made by cultivating wild yeast and other beneficial microbes.
Yo, hit me up with a link for that,
it's
Husker.
Called a bug because that's what microbes are informally called. The first thing we need for a bug is, of course, ginger. You want to make sure you get fresh organic ginger. Avoid anything that's been washed with chemicals or irradiated to kill microbes.
Just knowing he's there comforts me even if I can't see him. A bit like God.
Next, give your ginger a proper wash to remove.
He looks so much like my son, but with orange instead of black.
For our ginger bug, we'll be keeping the skin on. That skin is where all the wild yeast and beneficial microbes live. The ones we want doing the work. Even after a proper wash, the skin will still hold on to those microbes we want. That's why organic ginger is so important. You're bringing life into the jar, not just flavor. This is about 4 ounces of ginger, and I'm going to grate it.
All right, write it down, chap. 4 ounces of ginger. Grate it.
Blend it. But I like the control I have when I grate my ginger.
Shove it in there. Shove it in a little Tupperware. Piece of piss.
Set that aside for now and grab a glass jar.
Yeah.
I'm using a mason jar that holds roughly 2 cups. To my jar, I'm adding 1/4 cup of distilled water. Next, add
Right, did you see that little amendment there? He's using distilled water, but he says chlorinated water. What he means by that, I think, is just tap water. It can still work, but it's harsher on the microbes. So I imagine it'll take a bit longer to get the actual reaction happening.
jar, I'm adding 1/4 cup of distilled water. Next, add 1 tablespoon of sugar. This is Jamaican brown sugar, but pretty much any sugar will work.
Yeah, but you want to use brown sugar, don't you?
Will eat to start the fermentation.
You want to use brown sugar, obviously.
Add a tablespoon of ginger. Grate in all the ginger.
Boil it first if it's tapped. That's smart.
For workflow. Anytime we need to feed the bug, we can just grab some from the fridge.
Boil off the chlorine.
The ginger seeds the mixture with wild yeast, and the starches in the ginger give the bug an extra food source. The yeast will consume the sugar and give off carbon dioxide.
Sorry, I've not even got the fucking subs
Our
up.
ginger bug needs to breathe, so I'm covering the mason jar with a piece of cheesecloth.
Yes.
Use a rubber band to hold it snug.
Just a bit of muslin.
It doesn't have to be cheesecloth, but whatever you're
Let it
using,
sit and gas off, yeah.
Air exchange.
Or use apple
Another
juice and
important
reduce
step is
sugar.
to name and date your jar.
I would probably not stray that far from the recipe, right? Because fermentation is like an interesting process, right? I do know that you can make turbo cider out of apple juice. You just have to like leave it in like a warm room for a bit, right? But obviously it's not a good idea.
It really helps with tracking your progress. This will sit on the shelf at room temperature for a day before I feed it again.
Room temperature, chat. So 21 degrees
On
centigrade.
day 2, your ginger bug
Celsius.
might look very bubbly and active. That's a great sign.
That's what you want. You want the bubbles like that.
Just like with a sourdough starter, these early microbes are not necessarily the ones we want, so continue feeding. I'll be feeding this the exact same way.
Nothing like drinking a sippy of my apple juice in the morning, realizing it's fermented into evil cider.
Early activity is mostly from fast-growing microbes that show up first, but they don't make a strong, stable bug. Feeding consistently helps.
You need
the
it
right
strong
one
and
stay
stable,
over.
like Theresa May.
And that will sit on my shelf at room temperature for another day. On day 3, the ginger bug is still very active. You could even use it at this stage and get great results. However, the microbes giving us the early activity are not very robust, so we need to continue feeding.
Robust microbes is what you want.
On day 4, there's no visible activity. It's really easy to think that you might have killed your bug, but don't panic, it's totally fine. Even though it looks like nothing is happening, the microbes are still in there adjusting, so just feed as usual.
Oh god.
Day 5 also has very little activity. As long as your bug
I can't wait to make my own
doesn't smell rotten or
fucking
look off,
fizzy
just
drinks,
keep
chat.
feeding. The most important thing is to stay consistent with feeding.
You know what's super stupid? I didn't know this, but I thought that drinks got fizzy because when they make them in a factory, they like pump them with gas or some shit. That's what I thought. Do they do that, or do they use like a fermentation processing? Do you know what? We'll watch a fucking how it's made after this. Fuck it.
Trust the process. On day 6, there's still very little activity, but this is around the time I know the bug starts to pick up. So I'm feeding it 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon of ginger, and I'm skipping the water.
They do use gas now.
On the shelf.
They just pump it with gas. I thought they did.
After about 6 hours,
Yeah.
the ginger bug is now very active and ready
Look
to
at
be
that.
used.
Oh,
After that rebalancing period, your ginger bug will now be much more robust than the early activity you saw on days 2 and 3. My last ginger bug only took 5 days, with the slowdown hitting on day 3, but that week was hot. This one took longer because it's been raining every day, so the temperatures have been cooler. For more reliable results, place your ginger bug somewhere consistently warm. You can keep feeding it daily with just sugar, as long as you're making fizzy drinks often. The ginger is already in there and the microbes just...
there's a real soda that uses baking
If not,
soda that
store it
reacts
in
with
the
a
fridge
natural
and feed
acid.
it once a week. Just take
That's how they
it out
carbonate modern sodas, yeah. They were fizzy from fermentation originally, as some of the artisanal colas contain a tiny amount of alcohol, because I guess they're fermented. Well, this guy says this in the video in a minute. He's just like, yeah, if you want, you can let your fucking ginger beer sit for a bit longer, and it'll just become boozy. You'll just get like 5% fucking ginger beer.
They get active again when you're ready to use it. Just make sure you feed it after each use, and you will have a ginger bug that lasts.
And you can do the same. You can do the same. This is just how you make your own
Jamaican
beer, I guess.
Beer is made by steeping or boiling ginger with spices like pimento, cloves, or cinnamon.
The upsetting thing about this chat is that this is how my granddad went. Not necessarily, but like my granddad used to brew his own beer in his house, and he would just like. He would drink it before it was properly brewed, so it was all gross, but he did it with like starters from the shop and stuff. So I don't think he did it in like a natural organic way. I think he used like, you know, chemical shit that you buy from like a pack in the shop or whatever in Lidl or something. And he just used to drink so much. And one night he rang my dad at like 11 o'clock at night and was like, son, I need you to come round. And my dad was like, what's wrong? And he was like, just come round. And he put the phone down. And like he answered the door, and his face was hanging off. He'd had like a stroke because he'd just been drinking this fucking beer, and he was like pissed out of his mind, and he like couldn't get up the stairs and shit. It was like, what the fuck? Anyway, he got a stomach ulcer, and it all fucked up, and he died. And it's like, should I start doing this? Should I? If that's the kind of thing that's in my family history.
Maybe with lime or lemon zest and juice, and then left to
oh shit. Hey Oxpecker, how you doing?
There are a few variations, but they don't typically include the use of a ginger bug. For this ginger beer, I'm keeping it a lot simpler. To my blender, I'm adding about 3 ounces of fresh ginger, properly washed with the skin and everything. That's a little over a cup of Jamaican brown sugar. It looks like a lot, but our yeast will be feeding on it aggressively. Now, here's a fun little twist. These are ginger tea packets.
I don't know where the fuck I'd get any of this
from.
They
make a delicious tea, but they can also serve a great function in our ginger beer.
Would you just use the same stuff that's in like a ginger tea bag that you get from Aldi or something?
The bulking agent to make it more soluble.
How would we get this in the UK chat?
Flavor than fresh ginger. It's less spicy, but when combined, you get a much fuller, deeper ginger flavor that's extremely satisfying.
Are you
I'm
okay?
adding 2 packets.
Are you okay in there?
Next, add water. My blender holds around 20 ounces, so that's roughly 15 ounces of water. After blending, I'm going to run this through.
I was about to say, I want to be the guy that makes cool fermented stuff someday, but now I'm reconsidering. Hey, Rilesy, how you doing? It's just ginger powder and sweetener. It should just be ginger in those bags. Gotcha. When in doubt, order the brand online. Yeah, could do that. World food aisle. Yeah, could get it from there as well. Hello, welcome in, by the way.
That smells really good. Now that we have our delicious ginger juice, let's grab some of that ginger bug.
Look at that, man. You know that's doing something.
What you want to see. A lot of fizzing and bubbling. I want 1/4 cup of ginger bug, so I'm going to give it a quick strain. Next, add this.
That's all you need. You just need a 1/4 cup to make a whole fucking batch of it. To make it ginger beer, Rilesy.
Fresh ginger with a spicy kick.
But also, in a minute,
even though this looks like muddy water, let's give it a taste.
In a minute, there's going to be some proper peng.
This is a
extra different bottle. Shit.
It's designed to hold pressure safely and trap.
Okay, this is the bit that scares me, chat, because there's no fucking way that I'll be using plastic when I do this. There's just no way. I've worked so hard to remove as much plastic from my life as possible, right? So I'm gonna be using my glass bottles. Like literally, I've literally got these. You know what I mean? I've literally got fucking demijohns. So, you know, I'm just gonna use them and hope for the best. But basically, the thing that I'm worried about is that these motherfuckers could explode if you like forget to burp them or if it gets too hot. So you just need to monitor the temperature. And like that's the only thing that's like freaking me out about it. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to fucking explode soda all over my gaff.
Next, I'm going to pour in our ginger beer. We don't want to underfill this because the carbon dioxide the yeast produce will have a harder time dissolving into the liquid. We also don't want to overfill. Leave a little headspace. That's going to prevent explosions.
Hey Helgina, how you doing? I once did accidentally fermented orange juice. Yeah, I do that every week. I do that every week when I leave the orange juice out on the side.
Making sure it has a nice seal.
Nah, I don't. I'm just joking.
This will sit on my shelf. Depending on how hot it is, this will take anywhere from 12 hours to 3 days. Make sure to release some of that.
You can get a wine burper thing with a water bubbler on top. Ooh.
Which could cause an explosion.
Every 12 to 24 hours. I would just be doing it every 12 hours. There's no way I would... There's no way. I would be doing it obsessively. You get a glass or metal water lock that goes in the bung hole of the bottle.
You can also use plastic bottles to ferment your ginger beer. Plastic bottles have a ton of neat features. One of which is they serve as a great pressure indicator. Give your bottle a good squeeze to crimple it while pouring in your ginger beer. I'll show you why later. Plastic bottles are also safer and won't shatter if they overpressure. They're cheap, reusable, and easy to get. Just make sure.
Me and my teens fermenting semi-skimmed milk in the hostel living room.
They're not as aesthetic as glass bottles. I'm sure someone in the comments will tell me I shouldn't be consuming all that delicious microplastics, but they have a lot of benefits.
He even talked about microplastics. I didn't mention it because of that. It was the first thing I thought when he whipped out the plastic.
Well, that didn't take very long. It's been roughly 12 hours and this is already fizzy. Having a strong, robust ginger bug will do.
Look at that!
But I think the summer heat is helping a lot. Usually you...
And it's just crazy. That's happening because there's living things in there and they're like breaking shit down and what have you. And it's like, what the fuck?
Bubbles like this, so that's telling me...
But fermentation is so interesting because like, if you... He talks about this in a second. If you leave it for too long, the microbes start to die because like the thing that gets you drunk is like their own waste, right? It's like their waste that they create. And so they're just like living in their own waste and they have no way to clean it and shit. So it's like, it's a bit insane really, because it's like to make beer, you've just got to torture these like tiny little creatures. It's so mad. It's like, surely that means that every beer is not vegan. Surely that's what that means.
Glass bottle doesn't have a perfect seal. We're getting those bubbles because gas is escaping somewhere. It turns out these bottles are more decorative than functional, and that's something you want to be careful of when buying swing top bottles. I'll leave a link in the description for some better ones. I gave that a little
yeast are fungus, not animals. Yeah, but like, is it the same thing that's on the bottom of the ginger?
My plastic bottles, on the other hand, are looking a lot better than I left them. This is rock hard and fully pressurized. That's telling me that it's ready.
Microbes aren't sentient. It's true. It's true. I was a microbe in a past life. I can't remember any of it.
That's going to slow the fermentation and stop the pressure buildup, so try not to burp it. That CO2 is what gives us the fizzes. My glass bottle isn't sealing properly, so I think I'm going to change it. I notice a lot of sediment in the bottle, so this is a nice opportunity to get rid of that. A strain on a cheesecloth.
Ginger's covered in wild yeast? Madness. That's mad. A mad thing.
I have another swing top. It's just as decorative, but it has a better seal. I'm adding a little water because I lost some of the ginger beer during the straining process.
Mate.
Seal that up.
Oh, mate.
And that's it. I let this sit on the
I can't wait to make my own ginger beer. I don't know whether to try it like soon or to try it.
Let's try out something else. A big
in
benefit
summer
of keeping a ginger bug is that it makes any sweet liquid fizzy.
Drives off the natural sugars of the ginger. Yeah, could be, yeah.
This overripe pineapple that's been sitting on my table for a while.
I'm doing my research project on consciousness and sentience and currently reading a lot about microbes and mushrooms, so my ears perked up. Fermentation is so interesting. Yeah, it's a super interesting process.
Pineapple.
Super interesting.
I also have a watermelon that I got from the farmer's market. And I'm going
like the reason that we know about fermentation is it's not like a modern invention. It's because when we were apes, we just used to like let fruit go off, and we just knew that if you did that, it made you all funny.
to use these to make juice.
Yeah, just gotta keep it warm enough, right?
You can
Yeah.
use a wide range of fruits, so feel free to play around with it. That watermelon doesn't look like much, but it does have a really good flavor.
Mate, fucking watermelon
So
soda.
for our juice, I'm going to remove the skin, dice them, and add ginger.
Some other animals also eat fallen fruit to get drunk. Yeah, that's right.
But if you're making a Jamaican style fruit juice, ginger is a must.
It's kind of just like a natural process, right?
That's going to be the food for the yeast and sweeten our fizzy sodas. But
The videos you can find of monkeys getting drunk off fallen fermented fruit are pretty funny.
Next, top those off with some water. These smell really fresh and fruity, and we haven't started blending as yet.
Okay. Intermission. Intermission here, chat.
Society have become blasé and bored with life. Things are just too easy in the Kavango Basin. They no longer have a zest for living like their country cousins out there in the inhospitable desert.
Never ever ferment corn or coconut, it's deadly. Is that true?
Here, life offers no challenge, and many of them have become slobs and easy riders.
What is this documentary? Life offers no challenge? Bro, I dare you to be a monkey for a day. What are you talking about?
The only excitement in their lives comes in high summer when the marula trees are in full fruit. At first, the marulas are very tasty and hard to get at. You have to be either
those monkeys need to get back in the office. Is this the same guy who did the cocaine spider video? It could be, yeah.
But after a few weeks, the marulas get overripe and they start dropping from the trees.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Then all the animals wade in and gorge themselves on the rotting fruit.
Fucking Pumbaa and Pumbaa 2 and 3 there. Yeah, that fucking Atlantic accent not doing any good for the colonialism allegations.
In their tummies and turns into a very potent brew. So on the way home, things start happening to them.
Nah, bro. No way. For real? All these animals are getting shedded? No way. Not the ostrich, man. I don't believe that for a second. Nah. Not the wildebeest. Yeah, obviously that fucking worm isn't going to be getting pissed, like... Hey Morrigan, how you doing? Okay, there was nothing weird about those birds, they were just walking in sync. Hell yeah, that's just me though. How did they get this footage of me? How did they also get this footage of me? I've only ever been like that kind of drunk once in my life, and it was when I was about 13, and we did like a whole bunch of magic mushrooms, and like we just like mixed a whole bottle of whiskey with half a bottle of fucking Coke or something, and just tanned it. We just absolutely tanned it, and I was fucking falling about everywhere. I just couldn't fucking stand up. It was so dangerous. I can't believe I did that shit when I was 13. It's so insane. So insane. When the pussy hitting way too good. I don't know about you, but like having sex doesn't make me like this. It just turns me into like a caveman, and I just like, I don't know, just go in the fridge and start like eating food like a chimp. Smoking cigarettes. Yeah, mate, that's the way. Would you still love me if I was a drunk worm?
When night falls, there's peace again. A very blissful peace.
Yeah, because they're fucking pissed out of their mind. Alright, let's get back to this.
Once blended, I'm going to strain these. I'm using the strainer cheesecloth combo because I want really clean
I'm getting
juices.
absolutely ostriched tonight.
Wow, that pineapple juice has a really vibrant color. It almost looks artificial. Next, I'm adding a quarter cup of ginger.
You see, these are the ones that I want to try. I don't think I would be that keen on the ginger beer. I'm not a mad fan of ginger beer. It always gives me mad heartburn. But I don't know if that's just the processed stuff. I don't know if I made ginger beer like this with the traditional method. I don't think it would give me that, but I would just be like a bit cautious of it. But I would definitely be doing some like fresh fruit shit, fresh fruit soda.
Each juice.
Like, are you mad?
You could even
look at this, man. It looks so peng.
The microbes will multiply aggressively because we give
Make
them
that
the
fizzy.
perfect environment.
Oh.
And our ginger bug is extremely robust, so don't worry about it too much.
You just need a robust
Next,
ginger bug.
Not just sweetness to what you like.
That's all you need.
Keep in mind that the longer this ferment,
He's just putting like a quarter cup of sugar in there. You know what I mean? Like a quarter cup. That's all you need.
The yeast consume the sugars.
You don't need anything crazy.
They give off CO2 gas as a byproduct, and that's what makes our ferment fizzy.
Too much antioxidants in ginger beer. The mule's ox-like system to handle.
There are also other microbes in the ginger bug.
Could be the extra acid they use to stabilize the mass market ones. Yeah, true.
So if we ferment,
we're gonna learn about that in a hot second, Morrigan.
Tangy and alcoholic.
See, alcoholic.
So if you want a more boozy soda, just let it sit for a few more days and feed it with a bit more sugar.
That's it. That's all you have to do.
Burp it or release the gases regularly so you don't end up with an explosion.
Ginger beer can have like 0.5%, but it's not illegal to drink if you're underage and stuff, basically. It's like when I was a kid, we used to order Shandy Bass from the fucking bar, and we could have that. We could have Shandy Bass, no probs. Totally fine.
Fermenting with wild yeast will probably get you to at most 5% alcohol. That's because the yeast die off or slow down from the higher alcohol levels. They're essentially living in their own ways.
There you go, that's the crazy thing. Look at this, it looks so good!
Our fruit sodas are all set now, and I even did a few plastic bottles as well. Our ginger beer has been sitting for a few hours, and that's also ready. So I'm going to place it into the fridge.
So yeah, that's an interesting bit of the technique. You let it get to a point where it is like bubbling and bubbling and bubbling, and then you just put it in the fridge, because if you don't, it'll just continue to ferment, and that makes it boozy, right? So like if you put it in the fridge, it'll stop fermenting, but it'll retain some of the fizziness. That's the idea.
If you can hear that, but that is whistling. Usually you add lime or lemon to ginger.
Oh, look at this.
But I love adding it at the end for the freshest flavor. I like to give my bottles a little shake to bring out the fizz. That is a beautiful glass.
What was that sound? The mule just splooged.
I ended up getting better carbonation from plastic bottles because they had a much better seal than the decorative glass ones. Let's give this a taste.
Oh.
Yosh.
Hey Mia, what's going on? Good to see you.
That is it. Even though this is spicy, it's extremely refreshing with the full taste of ginger. It has a little funk from fermentation, which makes it more complex, but this is incredible. This is way more delicious than anything I ever bought in the store.
That's the thing, you know what I mean? It's like they don't do it the traditional way when they mass produce stuff. And that's why it always just tastes so mid. It's always just so mid, and the thing that you're like enjoying when you drink it is like all the sugar in it, right? Do you know what I want to make? Have you ever seen me with the car black grape, chat? It's like super purple, but like purple fizzy drink. That's like a Jamaican thing as well. Like car black grape is so peng, but I'm gonna do this, but with black grapes. I'm gonna do this technique, but with black grapes, without a shadow of a doubt. And just make like a fizzy grape juice that's super peng and healthy, right? Car black grape is the one. It's the absolute one. Morgan says, I had a realization the other day I feel compelled to share with you. Asmongold's inner political voice is basically Ted Cruz. Asmongold's inner political voice is just like, what do I think is going to make me the most money? I wonder what mango would be like. I know what it'd be like. It'd be peng. It'd be so peng. Car black grape juice and jerk chicken with rice and peas, the one. Yep, that is it. Dan McClaith, hello, how are you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, there's probably no grape in car black grape, yeah. It's carrot and black currant. That's crazy. It's crazy because it tastes so much like grape, like black grape. Like I have some black grapes in the fridge right now and it tastes like car black grape. Mia says, I for one am extremely currently in the process of recovery from last week. On a related note, did you hear about the school strikes against conscription in Germany? I did hear about it because you told us about it. Maybe we could take a quick look at that. School strikes Germany. Oh. Socialist worker, the first result there. German MPs rubber stamp military service. Let's take a look at this. We got DW News. School strike, another DW News. Germany votes to bring in voluntary military service. Wait, voluntary? So it's voluntary. Got a couple of sources on this. Let's take a look.
Controversial new laws passed the German parliament today. Laws that have exposed cracks between the country's older and younger generations. One will increase pension.
You're telling me that those cracks weren't already exposed. You're telling me that the cracks between the older and younger generation in Germany have only just been exposed by an insane law that says that everybody should be conscripted anyway, whatever.
The next 15 years, which is good news for pensioners. But the measures faced resistance from some younger lawmakers within the government who say they are too generous and unsustainable. Now, the issue of pensions is an increasingly thorny one in Germany because younger generations have to foot the bill.
Mia, what's your take on this shit? It's basically voluntary unless there aren't enough volunteers. Oh, man. Oh boy.
And today there are fewer young people in the workforce to pay the pensions of an increasing number of retirees. That means less money going in and more money being taken out. So without some sort of fundamental reform, simple math says at some point the system will collapse. But Parliament,
yeah, don't work with other countries to stop climate change. Just war! War now!
The package was approved. Now, also approved was a new military service law which aims to boost the numbers of young recruits to Germany's army. The government hopes...
Bro, look at the state of this, man. That kid is literally 12. That kid is literally fucking 12.
The law will encourage enough volunteers.
My take on the pension is that it's a fake debate because they have the money for tanks and shit. Yeah, well, what I was going to say was the way that this presenter is presenting this is he is saying, you know... He's saying that there's younger MPs in Parliament who say that it's not good. Are those younger MPs? Do those younger MPs happen to be conservative. Can we ban Germany and Austria from ever rearming like permanently? I mean, the thing is that like history's like Star Wars sequels, right? It rhymes. It's like poetry. It rhymes. You know, the UK wants a strong Germany there that is reactionary and doing genocides. And when I say doing genocides, it's only doing the same genocide that we're doing, which is the genocide in Gaza. You know, they want a strong Germany there to fight the threat of Russia, because it never really mattered whether it was the communist threat of Russia or not. It was always just the threat of Russia, right? You know what I mean? That's how you get modern day Japan. Japan has an army. What are you talking about? Does Japan not have an army? Parliament passed both on the same day and the younger MPs are conservative. Yeah, same story as always.
This military service is voluntary and it will remain so if everything goes as well as we hope. But I want to be honest with you. If it's not enough and if the threats we face worsen...
Bro's name is Boris Pistorius. Hey Junatum, how you doing? Japan is increasing its military spending. Yeah, I thought that. They have a fascist prime minister now, don't they? Like an openly fascist prime minister. Not that Shinzo Abe wasn't... I think he was like less openly fascist, but he was certainly a fascist.
We will have to introduce some kind of compulsory military service in order to protect this country.
Well, students are...
Bro, like, they had to cut the German audio. They had to cut the German audio, because if they let this guy speak for any longer, everyone would be listening and being like, sounds like Hitler.
To protect this country.
Doing some Hitler shit.
Germany skipped school today, protesting against...
Japan just banned same-sex marriage, I believe. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Everything's getting so cool.
The idea of compulsory conscription. Polling shows a huge generational divide, with a majority of younger Germans opposing a return to compulsory military service, while a majority of older Germans support it. Quentin Gertner was until recently head of the organisation that represents school students across Germany. He's also a member of Germany's Green Party. Welcome back to the day, Quentin.
55,000 students went on strike, dope.
Why do you think there were these demonstrations against this new law, given that Parliament is talking at this stage about voluntary military service?
I think many people are feeling left out from the government, because they feel that this government isn't caring about them. The decisions that are being made are made in favor of an elderly generation, and those sacrifices that we're asked to make in our life choices.
More strikes, more strikes, more strikes.
Instead of starting with whatever I want to start at the beginning of my life. This is something that this government is not really how to put that. This government doesn't really understand what they're asking for, and they're not, on the other hand side, are presenting a lot of...
The Green Party had nothing to do with the strikes. Why are you asking the Greens? Because that's the representation that we're allowed to have.
There's two young people, so they're demanding, but they're forgetting that they have to present us policies that are also...
They're framing this in such a cracked way. As well, using the word crack. Intergenerational cracks emerge in Germany. We already know that there will be intergenerational cracks in every society, because baby boomers aren't explicitly a British or Irish or American, USA, Canadian phenomena, right? Most people in the imperial core benefited from the baby boom. You know, maybe less so in Germany, but you know, more stuff is happening, and therefore, well, more stuff happened towards the build-up, towards the end of the Cold War, so-called end of the Cold War, that made, you know, them very similar to other imperial core countries in West Germany, at least. Yeah. The decision being made to throw young people against some pointless NATO war with Russia. Yes, correct. Well, it's only pointless if you have a brain. If you don't have a brain, you're just gonna be like, oh, you need to get the gas. Need to get in there and get Putin's gas. He's always turning the gas off, isn't he? He's always doing it all the time.
In favor of young people. So you could invest in education. You could strengthen mental health of young people, but you're not doing it while still you're demanding young people to do military service.
Well, not quite demanding, are they? Not quite demanding, given that initially this would be voluntary.
Bro, if the army, initially, it'll be voluntary. Like, do you hear what you're saying? Like, Putin's not letting the gas be free. Can't fucking cook dinner because Putin turned the gas off. If Germany has a fight against Russia and fails badly and like loses loads of troops, then it won't be voluntary. That's the whole thing. That's the whole fucking thing.
Of course, and me myself, I'm 100% convinced that is the correct way, that we have to take responsibility, and that we could also talk about duties. But a government that says, okay, if it won't be enough voluntarily, we will take compulsory measures.
They'll just do what Ukraine is doing now, round people up and force them to fight. Yeah,
on their tongue.
Yeah,
and this is something the young people are feeling. And I'm
sure that'll go really well for all the commanding officers in the army. I'm sure there will be no grenades with the pin taken out, placed in anyone's pockets.
I can understand that we're in a different situation with regard to the security situation of Germany, and I absolutely agree that we might have to start compulsory elements with regard to young people. But on the other hand side, this government needs to be ready to present a solution for young people as well. We want that education and mental health is strengthened.
And we'll come to that, Quentin. So you think this is, you think this is a good idea. Clearly there's an argument, a discussion to be had out there. When you hear the question put to people who are opposed to this, when you hear the question put, why
Hello,
are you
Rebel Phoenix, how are you doing?
Fight for your country? What sort of arguments do you hear? What sort of arguments in favour of that do you hear?
They tell me they're scared, and it's too abstract to the concept of a country.
I don't know if they ran out of World War II era tanks yet, though. What are you saying?
Abstract for them to say, okay, I want to die for it or something. And I think the ties are not enough connected to democracy. So if I go out to the street and ask somebody, are you willing to defend democracy? A huge majority of people will say, yes, I am willing to defend democracy. But if we say, okay, we might have to contribute to the Bundeswehr in order to defend democracy, a lot of young people are saying, no, I don't want that, because the ties are not too good. So the logic behind it, that you're defending democracy, that is unseen, and this is an issue we have to.
Russia has been pulling whatever they could out of mothball status. Okay. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I know that like a bunch of people weren't here for the streams last week, but like, I don't know how much. I don't want to be cruel to people, because no one's immune to propaganda. I'm sticking with the strat that I had from last week, which is that like, I'm just going to tell people, if you're explicitly hating Russia and you're explicitly saying that Russia are evil and bad, like, you're just repeating imperialist talking points. That's all you're doing. If you're mad at me pointing that out, I'm sorry that I'm correct. It's tough to be correct most of the time. I don't know what you want from me, man. I don't know, just like, I don't know. Every time someone criticizes Ukraine and NATO, you don't have to immediately be like, yeah, but Russia's also just as bad, because A, you're wrong, and B, like, you're wrong.
Represent the Bundeswehr.
Like, what are you doing? You're defending the empire. You live within the imperial core. You think that the empire is like mint and good, and the fact that we're saber rattling against Russia is like a great idea. You think that's good? Because it isn't. It isn't good. It isn't good. There is an impending ceasefire that is going to happen in Ukraine. And everybody is like, no, there shouldn't be any concessions to territory. And it's like, what do you want, man? Do you want World War III? Is that what you want? Let him have the fucking land. Like, don't be fucking stupid. It's fucking dumb. It's just fucking dumb, man.
It's an army that defends our democracy, and it's an army based on the parliamentary...
Like, look at the broader context of stuff. Like, NATO has been poking Russia for fucking ages. Give us your gas, 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 give us your gas. And then as soon as fucking, you know... It was going to end like this the day it started, exactly, yes. Correct. Yes, and it isn't about picking teams. It isn't about picking teams. Like, the thing that should not be done now when there is, like, a possible ceasefire agreement being made, right? And I'm not saying it's going to work because Trump is doing it, right? But the thing to do is not to be like, no, fuck Putin. We need to get ready for war. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Debates. So there's no reason to say, okay, this is some random army I'm fighting for. This is fighting for democracy.
And just on the point that you made there, the idea of what's in it for us. So in terms of this government trying to reduce opposition amongst young people to a measure like this, you mentioned one of the things that they ought to be investing in is education. How else might they encourage young people to have more of an investment in this country?
Well, they could also present to us good solutions with regard to the pensions, and this is something they failed today.
I don't know about this guy's chat. He's a bit rubbish, right? He's talking about like the pension solution shit. I think this guy's a bit of a lib, right, Mia? You know? He's a bit of a lib. Anyway, that's what's going on. Let's read a quick BBC News article. Let's give ourselves brain rot. Germany votes to bring in voluntary military service program for 18-year-olds. Germany's parliament, the Bundestag, has voted to introduce voluntary military service in a move aimed at boosting national defenses after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. See, like, you know, you're just repeating what the BBC tells you. You're just saying the same things that the BBC says. Russia evil. Yeah? Do you love the BBC? Do you think that what's happening in Gaza is a conflict? It marks a significant shift in Germany's approach to its military and follows Chancellor Friedrich Merz's push to create Europe's strongest conventional army. The change means that all 18-year-olds in Germany will be sent a questionnaire from January 2026 asking if they're interested and willing to join the armed forces. The form will be mandatory for men and voluntary for women. Rebel Phoenix says, yeah, but allowing Putin to put the USSR back together against the wishes of the independent nation seems like the wrong idea. What are you fucking talking about? Like, you're just repeating NATO talking point. Do you understand how you sound? Do you understand what you sound like? Like, you sound like a NATO fucking freak. Yes, NATO empire good, USSR bad. Like, what are you talking about? Putin's gonna put together the USSR again. That is literally what like Friedrich Merz and those fucking freaks are saying. We have to go to war with Russia because otherwise the USSR will come back and communism is bad. First of all, communism isn't bad. Second of all, that's not happening. What are you talking about? NATO has been threatening Russia, saying, we're going to fucking, you know, go to war with you. We're going to give Ukraine weapons so that it can fucking threaten you because it's been threatening you for a long time because we're going to use it as a fucking proxy war, you know, to destabilize your country so that we can fucking do regime change and then get gas, right? It's that simple. It's not simple, but it's that simple. No one is trying to put the USSR back together. What are you talking about? I didn't say anything about communism. Yes, you did! The USSR was a fucking communist state! What are you... It was a federation of communist states! What are you talking about? Oh my god! What are you... Wait, why are you using the USSR if you're not talking about communism? What do you mean? Look at what you've done to the boy! Look at what you've done to the boy! He wants the land. Why do you think he wants the land? Why do you think that? Why do you think Putin wants the land in Ukraine? well, we'll put the cat cam back on when he's back. When I've stopped yelling at Rebel Phoenix. Okay. This is crazy, by the way. The form will be mandatory for men and voluntary for women. Students at schools across Germany have said that they will join strikes in as many as 90 cities on Friday to protest against the move. Many young Germans either oppose the new law or are skeptical. We don't want to spend half a year of our lives locked up in barracks, being trained in drill and obedience and learning to kill, the organizers of the protest wrote in a statement posted on social media. War offers no prospects for the future and destroys our livelihoods. Yeah, it's true. The same reason the US wants Venezuela for resources. Oh. What resources, dog? What resources do you think Russia wants from Ukraine? Like, what do you mean? Okay, great question. Do you think the USSR was imperialist? Do you think communism is evil? Because if so, we don't got to continue this nonsense. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We really did win the Cold War too hard. Yeah, everyone is just like, yeah, everything that Russia does is evil. Russia is the same. Russia is just as imperialist as the Imperial Core, just as imperialist as NATO. They definitely control hegemony somewhere in the world. Ukraine is a grain basket. Well, what do you mean? What you mean is bread basket. It produces a lot of grains. Yes, but there is also plenty of land in Europe that also produces a lot of grain. So, you know. So there's your answer to that. Also, do you think that Russia does not have land that produces grains? Do you think that there is no bread in Russia? Do you think that Russia is performing economically bad? Economically worse? Do you think that being in BRICS is a shit position to be in economically, with having like fantastic trade agreements with China, India, Brazil, and South Africa, and all the other countries in BRICS? Like, are we doing any joined up thinking? Are we doing any like actual thinking about like how the world works here? Or are you just being like, oh my god, Russia is scary and evil and bad? Right? Like, just do some joined up thinking. They don't want all the fields of Ukraine to do farming in. War offers no prospects for the future, destroys our livelihoods. In Hamburg alone, about 1,500 people were expected to join the protest, and school head teachers warned parents not to take their children out of school for the day. German MPs voted 3-3 votes. He's back! He's back. Apple Chips the video game. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? German MPs voted by 323 votes to 272 to back the change, making their country the latest European country to launch some form of revised military service. Now, here's the thing. When we're talking about, like, NATO pressure against Russia, right? This is an example of that. Yeah? Why is the German parliament wanting to increase its military spending and increase the size of its army? It's so it can threaten Russia, right? Why are they doing all this stuff when there is ceasefire talks happening? Surely, if there are ceasefire talks happening, it shouldn't be an issue. Why would there be an issue? Why do we need to increase defense spending? Why do we need to do that? Yeah, why does any European country need to increase defense spending if there's a ceasefire going on? Yes, it's because the USA empire demands it, right? So with one hand, Trump can go and say to Putin, look, we're going to do a ceasefire, mate. It's all good. Don't worry about it. You know, you can have this land, this land, this land. And then Putin's going to be like, yeah, but they're all talking about rearming and defense spending. What are you talking about? And he's going, don't worry about that, bro. It's fine. It's all good. They're just, you know, it's China, it's Afghanistan, it's all these other countries, it's all these other horrible, it's Iran, bro. And he's like, yeah, I'm friends with all those guys. And he's like, yeah, but you shouldn't be friends with them, you should be friends with us. right? You know? Okay. So, the government says military service will be voluntary for as long as possible, but from July 2027, all 18-year-old men will have to take a medical exam to assess their fitness for possible military service. Like, it's all men as well. Like, it's crazy. Like, so what we have, like, I don't know, man. We have a proper fucking patriarchal law here. I don't know, man. Like, I'm not a fan of this law, and, like, I feel it's good that, you know, women don't have to do this, I guess. I would rather everybody didn't have to do this, you know? But obviously all that's gonna happen is all that's gonna fucking happen is that women are gonna be expected to foot the labor shortage that happens if there is an extended military campaign against Russia in the future, right? Oh, mamma mia. On universal medical examinations were necessary, Defense Minister Boris Pistorius said, so that in the event of an attack, Germany would not waste time determining who is operationally capable as a homeland protector. Homeland protector! Yeah, that's cool. That's cool language. Protect the fatherland and all that. Germany's armed forces, the Bundeswehr, currently have 182,000 service personnel. He wants to increase that number by 20,000. Why? Why do you want to do that, bro? This seems like a decent... That's like a decent-sized military, dog. Yeah, none of this is good. None of this is good. And, you know, if we do end up having, like, a broader war with Russia, again, it will be NATO's fault for doing things like this. And this isn't the only country that is upping its defense. In the UK, we have increased our defense spending by 5%, meaning that working class people have to, you know, have to die. They just have to die. There's already a law on the books to force women into hospitals and shit in case of war. Cool! So if it's not the grain and it's not the access to the Black Sea, why did Russia go after land that they pinky promised they wouldn't if they gave up the nukes that were on Ukrainian land? Oh boy. Oh boy, man. Look, man. The reality is, you invade, like, it's, I don't know how else to explain this. When you do a war, right, sometimes you can invade a country and not want to keep the land, right? You know, that's like a thing that happens, right? It's not just, you know, again, it's projecting, like, what colonialists do to other countries and indigenous places onto, like, another country that has, like, a different history, right? A completely different history, in fact. Like a vastly different history. Do you know what I mean? They reference the Budapest Memorandum. It's so Jova, yeah. I mean, okay, let's have a quick look at this. Okay. The Budapest Memorandum of Security Assurances comprises 4 substantially identical political agreements signed at the Conference on Security and Cooperation in Europe in Budapest, Hungary on the 5th of December 1994 to provide security assurances by its signatories relating to the accession of Belarus, Kazakhstan and Ukraine to the Treaty on Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. The 4 memoranda were originally signed by 4 nuclear powers: Ukraine, Russia, the United States and the United Kingdom. France and China gave individual assurances in separate documents. The memoranda signed in Patriot Hall at the Budapest Congress Center with US Ambassador Donald M. Blinken. Is he related to Anthony Blinken? He probably is. I don't know. amongst others in attendance, prohibited Russia, the United States, and the United Kingdom from threatening or using military force or economic coercion against Ukraine, Belarus, and Kazakhstan, accepted self-defense or otherwise in accordance with the Charter of United Nations. As a result of the memorandum and other agreements between 1993 and 1986, Belarus, Kazakhstan, and Ukraine gave up their nuclear weapons, right? Now, this is a key bit, right? This is a key fucking bit. These were countries that were surrounding Russia after the Cold War ended. So-called Cold War ended. When in a nuclear-armed world with mutually assured destruction in mind, when countries are disarmed in this way from pressure from bigger powers, all that it means is that these countries can then be used against the other powers, right? They can be used as proxies. They can be used as other things. You know, it's something that the whole Russia-Ukraine thing is not something that just happened like 2 years ago. It's just not like that, right? Even though it was more than 2 years ago. What was it, like 5 years, 6 years ago or something? The Western states, the imperialist states, have been threatening Russia for a long, long time because it has never been about cooperation with Russia. It has always been about threatening Russia, trying to destabilize Russia, trying to destabilize countries around Russia because they want the fucking gas in Russia. So when you are a country like Russia that has had threats literally for the last 100 years from countries all over the fucking world, when those threats become more and more prominent, there's a point where you go, we're not having this anymore. It's dog shit, right? It's like Iran. It's like Iran. It's literally like Iran. It's definitely different, but it's like Iran. We are told that we should hate Iran because it is not progressive. It's a evil society where there's a dictator and all this stuff, but it's not true, right? It's just not true. It's not true about at all. And you can have all kinds of criticisms of Iran and Ayatollah Khamenei and, all that kind of stuff. In the same way that you could criticize Putin, these aren't perfect places. You can't be gay in some of these places. You can't, there's going to be racism. There's going to be all kinds of problems and stuff. There's going to be all kinds of social issues, right? But that's not a reason to go to war with someone. And it's certainly not the reason that the Empire wants to go to war with them. It's because they have vast natural resource reserves. Yeah? The amount of gas that is in Russia that the Empire wants control of is way more valuable than all the grain in Ukraine. It's way more valuable than that. It just is. Because that's just how capitalism works, right? So, Russia violated the Budapest Memorandum with its memorandum in 2014 with its annexation of Ukraine's Crimea, and in 2022 by invading Ukraine. As a response, the United States, United Kingdom, and France provided Ukraine with financial and military assistance and imposed economic sanctions on Russia while ruling out any direct interventions to avoid a direct confrontation with Russia. So, do you see what's happening, right? They are desperate to control Russia while not fighting it head on because they do not think they can win, right? If Russia is like rolling out these World War II tanks, they're not good at war, they're losing actually, then why the fuck is the UK and the USA and Germany and France and all these fucking nations, why are they getting Ukraine to fight their war for them? Why are they getting them to do that? What about that economic coercion part? Yeah. Anyway, look, there's too much to go into, but like, all I would fucking say to you is, if you find yourself at odds with the person that with the country or the people or the person that your country, and you live in the imperial core, if you find yourself disliking those people, you must question why. Why do you dislike those people? Why do you dislike that person? Why do you not like this? It's because none of us are immune to propaganda, right? We're not immune to propaganda, and it's very, very easy for us to just like absorb the stuff that's in the news all the fucking time. Like, it's easy, right? It's easy. Like, I don't know, Rebel Phoenix. I think you're in the USA. I'm not fucking sure, right? But it's easy for people in the USA to be like so crazy about this stuff because it doesn't affect them. It's far away, right? It's far a fucking way. Chat suddenly forgot that we're allied with ISIS and Al-Qaeda, right? You know, it's really easy to just be like, yeah, well, you know, Putin's evil and like, you know, we should be fucking fighting Putin because he's evil and actually we should invade Russia and you know, just kill everyone, right? It's really easy for you to just be like, yeah, well, I'm in the USA. No one will ever fucking ground invade us, you know? And it's like, even in the UK, I'm nowhere near London, but if Russia wanted to nuke London, some of that fallout would, not only would I lose a lot of my friends, but some of that fucking fallout would reach us. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's very easy to sit there from like far away and be like, we should be fighting Russia. We should be murdering these orc Russian invaders. But it's just cringe, actually. And we should want peace, you know? Not a fan of the leadership here or there. The people of Russia I don't have beef with. Okay, cool. Look, you know, maybe I went a little hard on you and I feel bad about that now. But what I would say to you is, like, you know, if you just find yourself saying, like, stuff like this, man, like, oh, yeah, he wants the land. He wants to rebuild the USSR. He wants to fucking, like, they've only got World War II tanks. Like, all of this stuff is just stuff that is just in the news. Right? And when I say the news, I'm not talking like Democracy Now! I'm not talking like Al Jazeera. You know? It's NATO stuff. It's NATO stuff. And, you know, it may look like Trump is desperately trying to, you know, get peace and shit like that, but he's not. He's absolutely not. And I actually have another thing that I was going to talk about regarding this, which is Macron in Beijing desperately trying to get Xi Jinping to change China's stance on Russia. Right? Opinion. Macron in Beijing. Can France reset its China strategy? Macron's message to China is clear. If you want to trade with Europe, you must help us stop Russia. Right, now, stop Russia doing what? Stop Russia doing what? What is it doing that you want us to stop? Because it has said that it will stop the fighting in Ukraine if it has the territory that it does. He's said that, right? So we don't need China's help for that. So what is China's help that it want, like, and also, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, how the fuck do you think that this would even remotely work? Right? Macron's message to China is clear. Yeah, this remains more fantasy than reality. The visit is unlikely to yield anything more than new tariffs on Chinese goods in the near future. So, you know, like, look at what's happening here, chatter, right? Look, everybody in chat. If there's people in chat who are going like, whoa, Mule loves Putin. What the fuck is going on here? No, wrong. That's not what this is. You need to have a broader criticism of empire, right? Internationalism is not just being like, I have solidarity with workers everywhere. It is that. And a lot of it is that, but it's also looking at imperialism and going, okay, geopolitically, what is the empire trying to do here? What are they trying to do? And when you look at things like this, you could see that what Macron wants is he wants Xi Jinping to stop trading with Russia. He wants Xi Jinping to get out of the BRICS agreement with Russia, kick Russia out because they're evil and bad, right? But what if they don't do that? What if they don't do that? New tariffs on Chinese goods, right? To be clear, this won't mean shit. But they're threatening China by having a relationship with Russia that does not involve war, right? Threaten that Europe will stop trading with China, or the I will punch myself in the balls strategy, as we call it in the biz. Right! Exactly! Okay, so French President Emmanuel Macron embarked on a highly consequential visit to Beijing at a moment when Russia's pressure on Europe was intensifying and strategic rivalry between the US and China was reshaping global power dynamics. The trip carried exceptional weight, not only because it marked... By the way, Anadolu... I can't remember what this is called. It's called... I think it's called Ankara Anadolu. It's a Turkish outlet, and it's very much pro-imperialist. So I wouldn't be like taking anything this says for for truth and well-sourced reporting. Again here, like framing it in this way, Russia's pressure on Europe, right? Whereas, in fact, European countries have been pressuring Russia for a long time. Strategic rivalry between the US and China, reshaping global power dynamics. I mean, this is a crazy way to say that China is fucking everybody's shit up economically and not arsed. Not arsed by a single thing that is happening everywhere, right? So... the French economy has been struggling with prolonged low growth, rising public debt, and deepening budget deficits. Against this backdrop, Macron's visit was not only an effort to secure economic relief for France, but also a strategic attempt to recalibrate Europe's geopolitical posture at a pivotal moment, right? What this means, is that Europe is desperate. Right? Europe is fucking desperate. That's what it means. Negotiation backed by tariff threats. But they aren't even hiding this. It's like, look, negotiation backed by tariff threats. Meaningless threats. It's absurd that we'd rather throw young people into the war machine than just fucking fund decent local manufacturing jobs. It's because the people who rule us are just not in reality. They don't exist in reality. They're completely divorced from reality. We don't have consensus reality. Our politics all over Europe is completely it's completely destroyed. Do you know what I mean? There is just no consensus reality whatsoever. They totally forgot China can just bribe Trump and they have way deeper pockets. That is also true. This is also true. The main goal, so we got that. The EU's trade deficit with China has reached $357 billion. This has created serious political and economic concerns across Europe, especially in France. Nearly half of France's own trade deficit comes from China, showing just how severe the imbalance has become. Macron is now trying to correct this situation by pursuing a careful diplomatic balance. No, he isn't! They love these fucking media hounds, these ghouls. They love to portray people like Keir Starmer, Mark Carney, Macron, fucking anyone. As long as it's not Trump, unless you're Fox News, as, the surgical, political masters. Like, they know what they're doing. The adults are in the room. You know what I mean? He's carefully using diplomacy. Bro, he's threatening China. Like, do you not think they see it in any other way than this? It's so mad. It's maddening. It's absolutely maddening. Like, these people are not smart. You know? The situation has become a growing threat, especially for European automotive sector. Wow, man, I don't care about cars. Next one. For years, car manufacturers moved their production lines to China to benefit from lower costs. Bro, what you're talking about? This is crazy. Like, this is fucking crazy, right? This is so crazy. This is so fucking crazy. For years, car manufacturers moved their production lines to China to benefit from lower costs. What you're talking about is the exportation of labor. Capitalism made this decision. Capitalism was like, this is what we're gonna do. We don't want to cave to the fucking unions in these countries, so we'll just exploit people in the periphery. We'll pay them fuck all, and that'll be that. Now, they're like, oh no! Oh no! All the people who live in our countries don't know how to work in hard labor jobs. I remember when the media were solid gold liars and it took 5 years to debunk them. Yes. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Meanwhile, China is also monopolizing trains and bus manufacturing. Right, exactly. They are literally doing Dengism. Dengism is winning. Maoist third worldism is winning. Dengist-informed Maoist third worldism is winning. You know? Trump wanting to create tiny cars that can't travel as far as the cars we have now and can't compete with BYD cars. It's painfully stupid. Well, this is what I mean. Like, it's like when I was talking on Red Planet, I don't know, it was a number of months ago now, because of course we just fucking predict everything on Red Planet, and it's just like, you know, so obvious what is happening and what is going to go on, that we just get it fucking right. And what Trump is trying to do is he's trying to play a game of Age of Empires, but he's realized that you have to develop your own tech tree at a time when every other player has already developed all their tech trees. And what he's doing is he's saying, we're not going to rely on these other countries for fucking trade. What we're going to do is we're just going to start doing our own tech tree. So what Trump is trying to do is the great leap forward, but using capitalism and in modern America. It's not happening, dog. Hey, Emmy Killy, how you doing? Age of Empires is a great game. It is, but it's not real life. Right? He's trying to play Age of Empires when actually it's more like Civilization 6, yes. Or what's the other one? Anno 1562. I don't know what it is. My mum raves about that game. It's completely absurd. Completely absurd. The situation has become a growing threat. Europe's leading automakers on a serious economic and strategic strain. The reality is pushing Macron towards a new strategy. If Europe can no longer compete with China, then Chinese companies should invest directly in Europe. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? How is this strategic? It makes no sense. You are going, oh, please invest in Europe. Brother. Oh my God. These people are fucking... The people who run us are idiots. Chat, the people who... The people who govern us are the stupidest people alive. Elon had him convinced that AI was get us where we needed to be. In reality, the bubble is already rupturing. I don't even know if Elon needed to convince anyone of that. I think that Trump doesn't even think about that stuff. I think he just invests in what he thinks is smart. I wouldn't be surprised if he's already, like, pulled all of his fucking stocks out of AI. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. He's put American people's money in AI, which is bad. This is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my entire life. It is one of the most stupid things I've ever heard in my entire life. If Europe can no longer compete with China, Chinese companies should invest directly in Europe. What incentive is there for that? In this way, Europe could take part in the technological shift while protecting its own base. We have spent decades trying to destabilize China. Why would they do that? Why would they ever do that? Why would they ever agree to this? This is crazy, man. The strong ties between Beijing and Moscow make such an outcome unlikely. It's far more likely that China will send troops to Russia if there is a broader war with Europe. That's the more likely situation. And if that happens, we are Jova. We are Jova. Yeah, it's done. Like, the empire is over. It will be good, but it will be bad. It will be bad, but then good, probably. Oh my God. Oh. I wouldn't want Mao and Russia to stop at Ukraine if that happened. I would want them to continue to London. Just Westminster. Stop at Westminster. And Europe needs to just stop. It just needs to, like, it's done now, man. Like, great run, a great idea. It was a great idea, European imperialism, but, murdered billions of people, didn't it? Are they idiots or they just don't care? It's functionally the same, but I can't help but wonder. I actually think that they're idiots, Network, because if you think about it, right? If you think about it, capitalism for decades is like, for the centuries that it's existed, it has ran on the idea that wealth, increase in value is infinite. Like, you could just infinitely go up and up and up and up. And every economist who, is not like an absurd neoliberal, economist, anyone who's got like a bit of Marxist informed economy understanding, is just going like, you just can't do this. You can't do this without doing an incredible strain on the environment, an incredible strain on the workforce. People are just gonna fucking riot. Like, it's a bad time, you know? And yes, if you grow up with yes men surrounding you your whole life, you probably don't develop any actual skill. Correct. You know? A rising tide floats on an eternal river of shit, yeah. Greta said it best, all you have is fantasies of infinite economic growth. Correct. You know, that's what it is. They are literally just stupid. And the thing is that China has been quietly doing its own thing since Deng, right? And he was like, yeah, we should just like do capitalism better than the fucking West. And we should do it in a socialist way, right? We should do it as socialist-y as possible. You know, and I'm not saying that they're gonna just like, you know, destroy capitalism and then do communism, because you never know, it might just remain state capitalist or whatever. But it goes to show that the best model of capitalism is a restrained, third worldist, focused on cooperation model, right? They're idiots, but they're also serving their short-term economic interests. Yes, that's key, what Mia said, because they are not doing long-term planning. We've hit end-stage capitalism running and managed to infect most of the world with it. Well, I think that we haven't infected most of the world with it. I think that we've done imperialism and, you know, hurt a lot of the world with it. Absolutely. But most countries in the periphery understand capitalism to be bad, right? End-stage capitalism was back in 2008. This is managed decline. Yes, we're seeing the empire fall apart in front of our eyes. In front of our eyes. It's happening. Once a major investor in China, Europe has increasingly become an actor seeking Chinese capital to flow in the opposite direction. This is so funny, dude. This is so funny. We took all of our investment out of China, and now we're not getting any return. Why aren't you doing investment in return? A continent that once led in high-tech production is gradually becoming dependent on China, shifting from a technology exporter to a supplier of more traditional goods such as wine. During that earlier period, Europe also had the ability to shape these countries' political and economic orientations through human rights rhetoric and various geopolitical pressure tools, and influence it no longer fully holds. This is crazy, dude. Across Europe, concerns are rising. Russia has remained resilient despite heavy sanctions. I mean, this was also stupid. Like, it's part of a massive trading bloc with Brazil, India, China, you know, BRICS. Meanwhile, the US under Trump administration is promoting its own peace plan while excluding Europe, creating deep unease within the EU. Like, what I'm hoping is that the EU just like falls apart next week. I just hope that the EU falls apart. I think that if the broader EU wants to go to war with Russia, there will be a majority of countries who do not want to do that. I think that the UK, Germany, and France will want to go to war with Russia. I think that Finland will be like, nah, dog. I think that Sweden and Norway will be like, we're sitting this one out, chief. I think that Poland will probably be like, nah. And I think it will cause a huge rupture. God willing, NATO will be no more by 2030. Inshallah. China has literally seized the means of production from a lot of the West. Not according to Marx, but if it wasn't effective, they didn't even really have to seize it. Capital was just like, hell yeah, brother. Yeah, correct. I really wish we adhered to society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they will never sit in. Just imagine. Yeah, but we have the opportunity to build that world. We could build that world. We just have to witness this one end. We just have to witness this one fall apart, and then we could start to rebuild. Damn, I wanted to get my master's. Bummer. Won't NATO force them all into war? I mean, I don't know how. I don't know how it would do that. NATO is just like a coalition of countries, and countries can just be like, well, we're not going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I think that when NATO decides it's going to go to war with someone, like, wasn't NATO like key in Iraq, and they were like, right, all NATO countries are going to give like a certain amount of troops, but some NATO countries were like, well, not me, bro. And some NATO countries were like, well, you can have 100 special forces, or like you can have a ship, or like, you know, whatever. Yes, exactly. If NATO tries to get into a war with Russia and conscript all the young people, there'll be massive student riots. People are already used to protesting for Gaza in the last 2 years. Yes, correct. The old world, the new time, the time of... The old world, the new world, the time of monsters, yes. Hey, Maracas, how you doing? It sounds a bit accelerationist. I'm becoming more sympathetic to it. Maybe we need to touch the stove to learn. That's a great way of looking at it, yeah. France said no. Yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Here's the secret. All rules are made up. I mean, members, if there's some internal rule. Well, I mean, you know, one thing that has happened over the last couple of years is that it's become painfully obvious that the international rules-based order does not. It doesn't work. And so if NATO were like, yeah, you have to go to war. There's a rule. Some countries would just be like, no, we don't. Look at Israel. They do whatever they want. We're not doing any of that shit, bro. Are you mad? And also the people will rise up and riot, like B-Rat is saying. There'll be so many fucking protests. There'll be so many protests. And if the states clamp down and try and do authoritarian conscription, there will be fragging. There will be fucking troops who just slime their fucking commanding officers on the spot. They'll just be like, I don't want to be here, dog. I'm not going to be here. Boom, done. See you later, bro. Who's with me? You know, like, come on, man. Like, I'm not fucking dying for no World War III. No one will. Literally no one will. No one is going to do that. The only fucking war that I would die in is Gustavo Petro's army to save the world. It's crazy that actually following international rules as written makes you a fucking radical. Well, the reason for that is because people protested for these kinds of things, these kinds of progressive ideas, that you shouldn't just like be able to bomb a country willy-nilly. There should be some consequences for it. Right? It's because there were people who experienced what life was like in those times. They witnessed all their friends die, you know, and also like throughout the fucking last century. You know, it's happened again and again and again and again. Looking forward to the BBC article. No one wants to go to war anymore. Woke has ruined war. Today's Gen Zers are too woke for war. It is gonna be that. It is gonna be that. Oh, man. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So, terrible ideas from Macron there. That's not going to work. Good work. Let's take a look at some other insane shit that's going on in the UK right now. We've got Prisoners for Palestine here. Great account. Follow him if he's still on Twitter. I think they may have a blue sky, but I'm not sure. We've got Prisoners for Palestine here. Justice Secretary and Deputy PM David Lammy runs away from hunger strikers' family. It's been 35 days of hunger striking in British prison with no response for him. So the Filtered 24, a bunch of members of the Filtered 24 have been on hunger strike for 35 days. Some of them have been hospitalized, including T. Hutcher, and I think it's another 2 people have been hospitalized because of their hunger strike. They've been on previous hunger strikes. What they're demanding is immediate bail. Some of them have been held in prison for up to 2 years. Some of you know the chat command. I think it's Yulia, or yeah. Our friend Yulia, our comrade in prison, who is basically been denied bail, seized from her partner's home in an incredibly upsetting and traumatic fashion by evil fucking counter-terrorism police in the UK. Just put into prison on remand with no trial under terror charges before Palestine Action was even prescribed as a terrorist organization, and there is credible evidence to say that the Israeli state has interfered in their case to make sure that they stay in prison. And so the families of the Filtered 24 who are on hunger strike confronted David Lammy, I believe, early this morning.
It's been 4 weeks of hunger strikes. Why have you said nothing? Why have you said nothing?
My name is Shamina. I am the sister of one of the hunger strikers. We have been waiting to respond and the Minister of Justice to respond. There's 7 hunger strikers in the UK right now. They have 5 demands. We've got the letter for you. We've been waiting for a response. I don't know that.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. He's such a fucking slimy fucking scumbag. Every single one of them is. Fucking Starmer. God damn it. It fucking makes me so mad, dude.
My brother is on now, say 25. I know. They went to...
Right, but you do, though. You do know everything about this. Of course you know about the Filter 24. Of course you know about Prisoners for Palestine. The fucking Home Office briefs you on this shit every single fucking day, man. Come on.
About October, end of October. Joanna has been into as well, and the Ministry of Justice. This hospital has 5,000... Come on, David, let's go. And we're like, in the UK...
These people are doing what you should be doing. They're trying to stop a genocide.
We have lives. They want fair trials. They want bail. They want Elbit shut down. They want the deep state on a Palestine action. And they want the head failed.
He did used to pretend. He did used to pretend to be someone who cares about the plight of the disenfranchised. Well, I'm glad he got harangued like this. And I think that the only thing that's going to come of this, really, is that fucking Keir Starmer is just going to go, oh, we need to start killing people who approach politicians in the street. Because that's just the kind of shit that this fucking government does in response to this, right? Even if things like this don't happen, our government just go like, yo, things are going to get worse. And everyone's like, what? Why are you doing this? Do you want to be more unpopular? You're the most unpopular government that has ever been in charge of the UK. Ever. Fucking ever. Anyway, it's all doom and gloom from what we've been checking out there. We started the stream looking at some dope Caribbean food. Jamaican-style Caribbean food. And now we're just all sad, aren't we? We're all just sad at all the news that's happening. Well, we're going to have a look at some good news. The boy is so used to streamer yelling. Yes, he's very used to... If he's in this room, he knows that this is where... And he also... I think it's because he trusts me. He knows that I'm not yelling at him. I'm not yelling at fucking... you know... And I don't yell at him, you know. I think the most that I ever do is hiss at him, because I've heard that if you want a cat to, like, actually listen to you, you have to just go... Anyway. Let's have the cat cam on here. He should be on here. Oh, wow. Why is that looking like that? Why is that looking like that? Oh, yeah. Chat, how many of you just hissed to? Yeah. There you go. There he is. That's how you know. That's how you know the cat cam's on, because he's just there behind. Okay. So, I've been streaming for 2 hours, 2 and 13. 2 hours and 13 minutes. This is my full-time job. This is my full-time job at the minute. The Universal Credit Department of Work and Pensions is reevaluating my claim. I've got a phone call with them on Wednesday, which is very not nerve-wracking, and I'm really positive about it, and I definitely think that nothing is going to change, and they're not going to, like, question me about my bank account transactions, because they asked me for, like, 4 months of statements, and they're going to be like, do you really think you should be getting a takeaway? Ever? And I'm going to have to sit there and be like, you're scum, you're evil, but I'm not going to be allowed to say any of that stuff. So, that's going to be fun. So please consider giving me money. Please consider donating to the stream. We've had a number of ad breaks already. There are ads in progress right now. If you want to miss the ads, all you got to do is subscribe. If you've got an ad blocker, I would ask you to consider using the tip link to sub off Twitch. We've already had a number of donos tonight. We've had £25 off Krill. We've had £6.66 off Sawyer Enjoyer. I've just remembered that I've also got to do a stretch and drink some water and do some Blue Fella for them as well. Completely forgot about that. We've also had some subs. We've also had a resub from Aslan Silver and Caspi 2005. So yeah, appreciate all the support, but yes, we do have some dono goals. Yo! Sam, it's time for a Christmas hype train. But we're not going to start with Christmas tunes this time. we're going to start with this. I can't wait to show you this. It's a real hype train banger. Let's go, chat.
War. Yes, peace. Forever, forever, forever. Decirle al pueblo de Estados Unidos.
Hype train chat, you know what to do. We're going to listen to some tunes.
No queremos una guerra en el Caribe ni en Sudamérica. No. Not war. Yes.
Thank you for the 5 gifted, Sam.
No a la guerra loca. No crazy. No crazy, Gar. No.
Chat, you know the fucking score. You want to keep listening to tunes? We got 4 minutes left on the hype train. Chuck some subs in there. Chuck some gift subs.
Yes.
See someone without a gift, without a sub them up.
Peace forever. Peace forever. Esto se llama lenguaje tarzaneado. Tipo Tarzán sería sí paz, sí paz, sí paz por siempre. Sí paz, 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 sí paz, 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 sí paz, 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 sí paz, 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 paz. Not war.
That's it.
The people United States. De parte de the people Bolivarian Republic. I do one. I do one. Peace forever.
Peace forever, chat. Peace forever. Mia, thank you so much for the 10 months.
This is what you save this notification for.
Correct. Absolutely correct. All right. We're going into Christmas tunes. It's happening. Get your fucking lighters out, chat. This one's a classic. What do you know about Chris de Burgh? Chris de Burger. Come on, chat. Let's see those lighters. You want to stay listening to some tunes? Chuck some subs in the chat. Resub. Get some bits out.
A spaceman came traveling on his ship from a...
No, Middle-earth Marxist doesn't know anything about it. YouTube, I gotta lose you. Sorry, YouTube. Oh my god, YouTube, I'm so sorry. I had you paused for so fucking long. The fucking hype train was so long ago. Oh my god. It was like 30 minutes ago. I'm so sorry. Anyway, this is where we're up to. We're just watching some horrible transphobes. You've not really missed much. I'm kind of annoyed that you've missed that bit, but anyway. Anyway, rest in peace, VOD watchers. VOD watchers, this is how you know I care about you. I'm going to explain what we're looking at. We're taking a look at the case of Sandy Peggy, who is the NHS nurse who was dismissed because she misgendered a trans nurse, Beth Upton, and she's had a tribunal going on for ages and ages and ages. And we're just looking at this horrible podcast. It's Spiked. That's how you know they're feminists, because they have a podcast named after a way in which women are raped regularly and is still a big problem in our society. That's how you know that they're feminists, and you can trust them when talking about women's issues. That's sarcasm, obviously. Yeah, and they're talking about transphobia, but they don't understand what transphobia is. They don't believe it's real. They hate trans people. They're disgusting. So here we go.
Supreme Court ruling. It's going to take a lot more heroic figures like Sandy Peggy, a lot more court cases, a lot more campaigns, unfortunately, to just bring us back to a commonsensical women's rights respecting position.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's necessary, I think, to make sure that we actually properly push this stuff out of our institutions, not lead to the health service, where it surely shouldn't exist any more so than another place.
I can't speak. If I speak, I'm in trouble.
I just wanted to ask you a bit about the police. You may have seen there's been this case this week where the High Court have essentially told Northumberland police that they should not be going on pride marches, that this is obviously showing them up as not impartial. They shouldn't be warriors for gender ideology. They should be on anyone's side who needs the law. I mean, what have you made of the capture of the police as well?
Okay, this will be interesting. This will be interesting. What do you make of cops being told to not be at Pride, right? When queer people have been asking for this for fucking ages. For fucking decades. No cops at Pride, please. They are the people who will arrest us when they make it illegal to be queer. Which they are now trying to do to trans people, and eventually it will be every queer person ever. But the cops are being told not to go to Pride, not in a woke way, but in a cringe authoritarian way, where they're being like, no, the police are woke and gay and they love the queers, and or all they do is like arrest women who say that they don't believe that trans women are women. It's nonsense.
The NHS in that sense. I mean, that is also particularly alarming because that means that people can be thrown in jail.
No worries, network. Enjoy your sleep.
For having the wrong beliefs or having, gender.
Thrown in jail! Thrown in jail!
The NHS in that sense. I mean, that is also particularly alarming because that means that people can be thrown in jail or interrogated.
You could be arrested and thrown in jail just for being transphobic. When did this come in? You mean you could be arrested and thrown in jail just for having a different understanding of a different belief of gender, that you don't think that trans women are women? You think that you could just be thrown in jail these days? You could just be thrown in jail for not believing trans women. You could just be thrown in jail. When did this come in? Are you sure?
For having the wrong beliefs.
Hey, Ash.
Or having, gender critical beliefs.
I'm very alarmed. I'm pleased about the High Court judgment in this case. I
just for saying your English.
For the police to be impartial when it comes to matters of politics. Unfortunately, them participating in pride parades has been interpreted as just the police making clear that they're for gay rights. And of course, it's a lot more complicated than that. Pride is now effectively an anti-gay movement.
Pride is an anti-gay movement.
Believes in an ideology that sees young gay people as surgically corrected for not adhering to old-fashioned gender stereotypes.
Whoa, brother, you didn't even say that bit correctly. Bro, you didn't even say that bit right.
And of course, it's a lot more complicated than that. Pride is now effectively an anti-gay movement. It believes in an ideology that sees young gay people as surgically corrected for.
It sees young gay people as surgically corrected
for not adhering to old-fashioned gender stereotypes.
For not adhering to old-fashioned gender stereotypes, brother. You don't even know what you're saying. It's all just slop. Just coming out of your mouth like that disgusting fleck of spittle earlier that was like, it was stuck to both of your lips as you were moving. Oh, you fucking disgusting freak. My God. Famously, anti-gay festival, Pride.
It is a movement that has seen the erosion of women's spaces. So the police, whether they understand those issues or not, and I would say that in most cases they don't, even though they've been told many, many times, and lots of gay campaigners and feminist campaigners have alerted them to the problem.
What he's talking about when he says gay campaigners and feminist campaigners have alerted the police to these problems, what they mean is that TERFs and Graham Linehan on Twitter have tagged the cops. They've tagged the cops in posts on Twitter to be like, these people are breaking the law. It's illegal to say that a man's a woman. Oh! I'm straight. I understand how straight people end up reactionary, but gay reactionaries melt my brain. Right, well, let me explain it to you, yeah? Let me explain it to you. What happens is that when you realize that society doesn't like you because you put your willy near other men's willies or bums or whatever you want to do, when you realize that society broadly still thinks that's disgusting and wrong, and you can receive some kind of hate for it, what you do is this thing called pulling the ladder up behind you, right? Or you look at the things that you have about your person that give you, superiority over other people, right? So the first thing that people look for is they're white, right? Racism is a massive problem in the queer community. There are literally people that you can see on Grindr who will unashamedly say no blacks in their profile. They will say that without a hint of shame. And Grindr won't do anything about it, right? That's just one example. There's a bunch of racism that happens, and it's because queer white people, and I genuinely mean people, because I've met queer white women who are horrifically fucking racist. So you look at am I white? Yes. Okay, great. Well, I can be racist. If you're not white, you could be like, oh, well, I'm a man. So I'm gonna use that instead, right? And I'm gonna use my power as a man. Am I not a man? Well, I at least I'm a cis woman, right? I'm a cis woman. Why doesn't Grindr care? Because Grindr is run by fucking racist freak Zionists. It's not allowed to put no Zionists. Think about that. You could put no blacks in your profile on Grindr, and if someone reports it, it won't get banned. But if you put no Zionists, Grindr won't let you click save on the bio, right? It just won't let you click save. Hey Pitsy, how's it going? Welcome in. Oh God.
So they can't claim that the information isn't there. So that it's very much taking a side in a very, very divisive issue. And of course, the police absolutely shouldn't be doing that. So that's very, very important.
What are you talking about? The police taking a side by being at Pride? What do you mean, dog?
Will be misrepresented in the press as being, the police are no longer allowed to support gay rights or whatever. Of course, it's the absolute opposite. They were implicitly showing their support for a movement that is against gay rights by participating directly in pride parades. That won't be broadly understood. But the bigger question that you allude to is this serious question of ideological capture. How is it that we've reached the point where the police are waving flags for this divisive movement?
They're not. Next question.
Is it we've reached the point that doctors are saying things that are biologically incorrect?
They're not. Next question.
In order to uphold an ideology that has absolutely nothing to do with biological fact or medicine.
They're not. You just don't understand biology.
Medicinal reality. Why is it that the courts even are captured to a degree? Some judges, there are a few crazy activist judges.
Those crazy activist judges.
Who ensure that the decision goes the wrong way. I understand that for the most part, gender ideology is being defeated in the courts. But what would happen if, for example, Lady Brenda Hale was still in charge of the Supreme Court? She recently said, I've been speaking to doctors who tell me there's no such thing as biological sex. Now, had she been in charge of the Supreme Court this April, when that ruling came down, it might have gone the other way.
Yes, and everyone would have been for the better, wouldn't they?
We really are dependent on the courts not being ideologically captured. And we're just lucky that the current occupants of the Supreme Court aren't Lady Hale, because
it's crazy because they never love to look at their hatred of trans people as an ideology, do they? Right? But again, we don't have consensus reality. So I bet if you even pointed to the definition of the word ideology and said, look, that's you, they would go, no, it isn't. The dictionaries are wrong. The dictionaries have been captured. They've been captured by woke. We just don't live in consensus reality. It's just like you're just completely delusional, buddy.
Gone the other way, and we would have been in an absolute mess. We have to find some way.
Why would it have been a mess?
Protect our major institutions from ideological capture, and so far it's the courts doing that job, as we've seen with this case of the High.
Right, but it isn't.
Court ruling and the police. But we have to ask the question, what do we do if the courts become captured? Because then we're screwed.
Oh, no, I don't want to watch the whole episode. Are you joking? Oh, it's only 30 minutes. I'm not watching it. We're not watching it because they talk about other insane shit. Okay, let's take a look at this. This was the Scottish Sun. So don't be fooled. Just because they're the Scottish Sun doesn't mean that they're not the Sun. They're just as depraved and anti-working class and reactionary as any other Sun media outlet, the traditional, not Scottish Sun, I guess it would be called. Look at this. Nurse Sandy Peggy vindicated, cleared of all charges in transgender changing room row.
Scottish nurse at the centre of a row over a transgender doctor using a female changing room has been cleared of misconduct by NHS Fife. Sandy Peggy was suspended from work at the Victoria Hospital in Kirkcaldy in Fife on the 3rd.
Look at her, fucking flanked by Forstatter. Flanked by Forstatter. Like, are you fucking joking me, man? You know, those fucking losers before were just like, yeah, man, this woman is not someone who's trying to make a political point, yet here are some of the most prolific TERFs walking outside the courts with her.
2024, after she complained about having to share a changing room with Dr. Beth Upton at the NHS Fife Hospital, where they both worked. Dr. Upton had made an allegation of bullying and harassment, a tribunal heard earlier this year. Today, Scottish First Minister John Swinney gave his reaction after Sandy Peggy was cleared of misconduct.
There is a process that's been undertaken in NHS Fife which has examined issues about the alleged conduct of Sandy Peggy. That's reached its conclusion. It's important that these processes are fair to all parties, and that's what's been taken forward here, and it's reached its conclusion. There is obviously an employment tribunal that has been brought by Sandy Peggy that is currently underway, and it's not appropriate for me to comment on the live proceedings that are underway in that process. NHS Fife has my confidence and support. They've got important work to do to deliver on the healthcare needs of the people of Fife, and that's what I expect them to focus on.
Right, so he has given a politician's answer, and, you know, the TERFs are just going to be like, yeah, this means that he supports us, right? And, like, John Swinney might be a TERF. I don't know. He probably is. He's a bloke, right? He's in the SNP. You know, just because he supports Scottish independence doesn't mean that he thinks that trans people deserve rights. You know. Oh, yeah, I think we're going to get into some of that Middle-earth Marxist, yeah, because, yeah. The Sandy Peggy, this is a good news story, by the way. We're looking at all the bad news from 4 months ago, by the way, just so everyone's aware, right? This is a setup. This is a setup to the good news. So, yeah, let's take a look at this.
In a statement, Miss Peggy's solicitor, Margaret Gibbon, said, on Tuesday the 14th of July, the evening before the resuming of her tribunal, Sandy Peggy received confirmation from Fife Health Board that following a disciplinary hearing, none of the gross misconduct allegations against her were upheld. This follows a disciplinary hearing on the 25th of June, which considered 4 gross misconduct allegations, 2 relating to patient care failures, 1 of misgendering Dr. Upton, and 1 relating to her encounter with Dr. Upton in the workplace female-only changing room on Christmas Eve 2023. Sandy is relieved and delighted that this 18-month-long internal process has concluded and cleared her of all allegations. Scottish Sun political reporter Mark McLaughlin says changes in the law may have influenced NHS Fife's decision.
A year ago, I would say that she might have been in real trouble, but in the intervening time, there's been a huge change in gender law prompted by the Supreme Court, which ruled that a woman is a biological woman in law.
Damn, dude, the Sun's political expert. The Sun's political expert. I can't wait. I can't wait to you know, find out more about this guy's politics. I'm sure he's really woke.
Would have had a huge
I'm sure he's not biased in any way, shape or form, man.
On the panel that was deciding this case, they ultimately decided that Sandy Peggy had done nothing wrong, including the allegation of misgendering.
But Miss Peggy took the Health Board and Dr. Upton to tribunal, lodging a complaint of sexual harassment or harassment related to a protected belief under Section 26 of the Equality Act 2010 regarding 3 incidents when they shared a changing room: indirect harassment, victimisation and whistleblowing. Health Secretary Neil Gray was asked if he had confidence in NHS Fife.
Looking for your reaction to the Sandy Peggy disciplinary hearing yesterday.
So nothing further to say to what the first...
I reckon he was like, who's that?
Minister had to say,
and he had to have it explained to him.
To have a meeting with the local MSP, Jenny Gilruth, and have a discussion about NHS dentistry locally. Though it's an ongoing employment tribunal and a disciplinary process that NHS Fife has got responsibility for, and I've got nothing further to add.
Still have.
Yeah, like, you know, crazy that the Sun is trying to get answers about an ongoing disciplinary proceeding from politicians. They don't try and pervert the law. They don't try and pervert justice, the courts of justice, in order to get like a shameless headline, do they? They never do that.
The leadership of NHS Fife.
Of course I do. The NHS Fife have got an important role to play in ensuring that they're delivering NHS services to the people of Fife. And it's part of what I'm here to discuss with them.
This is exactly the same answer that John Swinney gave.
I continue to exercise that function. Of course,
it's the same answer.
The compliance officer for NHS Fife yesterday said the only way to check biological sex is...
God, the Sun is so bad. They're just so... It's super rare that I'll watch like a Sun video on anything. But like, it is just staggering. It's absolutely staggering how completely empty of any kind of fucking journalism any Sun fucking franchise has. It is so mad, bro.
Do you agree with that? You're going to do chromosome testing?
I've got no further comment to make on an ongoing employment tribunal process. It would be clearly inappropriate for me to do so. That needs to be respected and allow it the process.
Yeah, I'm done with this. Okay, anyway, let's take a look at this. Decision in the Sandy Peggy case. She was not directly or indirectly discriminated against. Her claim of victimization fails entirely. Her claim of harassment fails largely. And her claim against Beth Upton falls entirely. Get fucked, you fucking weird turf. Hell yeah. I don't know if we're going to understand, like, much of this, because it's all going to be, like, you know, proper legal speak and stuff like that. So maybe I'll take a little look at that while we're reading some of this and see if, you know, press summary. There's a press summary file that we could get. I'm press, right? I'm press. This document is intended to assist the media and public to understand the tribunal's judgment. It doesn't form any part of the reasons for the tribunal's decision. The judgment issued by the tribunal is the only authoritative record of the reasons for it. So, the decision. A. Failing to revoke the grant of permission to Dr. Upton on an interim basis after Mrs. Peggy complained for the period until work rotas took effect, so that they would not work together, as a result of which Dr. Upton was in the changing room and the claimant was present on 2 occasions. The board had harassed Mrs. Peggy by... So this is the NHS board, apparently. Taking an unreasonable length of time to investigate the allegations against her, making reference to patient care allegations against her on the 28th of March 2024, and giving an instruction to her not to discuss the case until a further message a little over 2 weeks later, which confirmed that applied only to the investigation. So they were found for harassment in that regard. So why is this what's being spoken about in the fucking this is so interesting. This is so interesting. Why are these the things that are being given to the media? Anyway, whatever. Let's take a look at what Jolly on Mom is saying. This is the second decision, both first instance, since the appalling 4 Women Scotland decision to find that there's no trans bathroom ban. Some robust criticism made of the way in which Naomi Cunningham conducted herself. Query whether this is going to come before her professional regulator. Let's take a little look at this. There were some rather unusual questions asked in cross-examination. For example, Ms. Cunningham asked a question seeking to compare the second respondent to the torturer in the novel 1984. To which objection was taken, and after the lunch adjournment, but before a decision on that was made, it was withdrawn. It ought not to have been asked, but does indicate the extent to which the second respondent's position was challenged in cross-examination. So, what they were saying is that someone who was being cross-examined, who was likely defending NHS Fife, Ms. Cunningham, Naomi Cunningham, the I guess like the Sandy Peggy's lawyer, I think, is that person, said that they were like the torturer in the novel 1984. Now, chat, do you remember what the torturer in 1984 did? Do you remember what the torture is from 1984? Do you remember what that is? It's actually a really brutal scene in the movie. It's completely brutal chapter in the book. I think the book is a little more explicit than the movie is. But I'll remind you, if you don't remember, the torturer in 1984 repeatedly electric shocks Winston, whatever is it Winston? I can't remember his name. The main guy repeatedly shocks him, electric shocks him. Tries to get him to say that things are real that aren't real. That's obviously the bit that she's going to be referring to there. And in the end, puts a cage on Winston 1984's face with a rat in it, hungry rats, and had a little thing that he would lift up to let the hungry rats chew the face of Winston 1984. So that's a normal thing to say, isn't it? It's a normal thing to say that someone in NHS 5 who was saying you probably shouldn't have misgendered this transgender worker is exactly the same as the torturer in the novel 1984. That's really normal stuff. This is the key paragraph in the Sandy Peggy decision. The question that arises from that conclusion is whether the application of the Supreme Court decision must mean that under the provisions over which this tribunal's jurisdiction under the 2010 Act, that's the Equality Act, I believe, as to work, the second respondent as a biological male required to be excluded from the female changing room, such that the permission given by the first respondent to do so was necessarily unlawful under those provisions. We have concluded that the answer is in the negative. This is a real disaster for those, pretty much the entirety of British media advancing a maximalist reading of the For Some Women Scotland decision. Let's take a look at this stuff that Jolly on Mom has highlighted here as well. Thirdly, the claimant's contention was, in our view, not consistent with the court's comment that, quote, we have concluded that a biological sex interpretation would not have the effect of disadvantaging or removing important protection under the Equality Act 2010 from trans people, whether with or without a GRC, end quote. Then, if their decision had been that all trans persons must be excluded from the changing rooms or toilets for the sex they identify with because it was not the sex assigned at birth, and may also be excluded from the changing room or toilets under their biological sex, that in our view certainly does impact on their rights under Section 7. So, what this is finding here is that the Supreme Court decision and the lack of clarification on the decisions regarding banning trans people from public spaces, public changing rooms, bathrooms, etc., is not fit for purpose. That's what we're finding out here. Were the claimant's contention to be correct, that would have the effect of materially reducing the extent to which that protected characteristic could be relied on by trans persons to their disadvantage. What was desired by the trans person when living their life may not be permitted in a large number of practical instances, and would not have been consistent with the view expressed by Lady Hale in Work and Pensions and the line of authority in relation to human rights. Such a construction, in our view, would also not be consistent with the interpretation of the Equal Treatment Directive from the CJEU, I don't know what that is, Courts of Justice of the European Union, I don't know, and its predecessor as referred to above, which remains as assimilated law and would not be consistent with a purposive interpretation still required. So, not fit for fucking purpose. So that's why this is good news, chat. So let's have a look at what the Herald Scotland is saying about this judgment.
We now have a judgment in the Sandy Peggy Employment Tribunal against NHS 5. It's only a partial one for the Kirkcaldy nurse, with the health board found to have harassed Sandy Peggy over the handling of the Christmas Eve changing room incident. The tribunal board also found that there was an unreasonable amount of time to investigate the allegations made against her. But crucially, part of the 312-page judgment also says that there had not been direct discrimination on the grounds of Sandy Peggy's gender-critical beliefs under the 2010 Equality Act. and all the claims against Dr. Beth Upton were also dismissed. Either way, this now opens up huge questions for NHS Fife and for the Scottish Government, who backed health bosses all the way. You can keep up with the whole story on heraldscotland.com.
So I'm not familiar with Herald Scotland, and I'm not familiar with this journalist or reporter, so I don't know how biased they are or anything like that. But it seems to be at the end there that she was saying, oh, well, you know, people were backing the NHS the whole way in this decision, and you know, it was found that they did harass her, right? And it's like, yeah, man, I believe that an organisation like the NHS would have got stuff wrong in terms of dismissing a person, especially in a case where there is so much media publicity around it and a terrifying you know, potential for people to get hold of information about this case and, you know, blow it into the stratosphere, which is what happened, right? It is what happened. But basically, this is overall TERFs taking a fat L, and, you know, I think that TERFs are trying to take a win from it because they're saying, oh, well, it was found that the NHS were discriminating, you know, well, not that they were discriminatory, but that they harassed her and they did the process wrong. And it's like, yeah, man, I believe that an organization can have got a process wrong, especially an organization that has been routinely underfunded and had funding cuts made to it by the government over the last fucking 16 years. So I believe that entirely. But also, they're going to be taking that as a win while also completely ignoring the fact that all the claims of discrimination against Beth Upton were dismissed. Every single one. Did not discriminate against Sandy Peggy for making a complaint that she was misgendered by her. Yeah, it's Jova. It's Jova, dude. And also, yeah, it's not the first time they pretended a fat L was a victory. They do it all the time. They do it all the fucking time. They're like, you know, the Supreme Court decision was obviously like a terrible day for trans people everywhere, you know, not just in the UK. Like it was a horrible, horrible thing to read. But, you know, all in all, most people who were critical of it were looking at it and going, well, how is this going to be enforced? It doesn't even seem like anything is going to, like, how are people going to deal with this shit? Like, how is this going to fucking work? And then, of course, we find that it is not fit for purpose and it is not working. And there is no way that the change in the law can work because it completely contradicts itself, because it says that trans people have the right to live their life in the gender that they choose, but then also that they're just not allowed to do a thing that means that they are living in the gender that they choose. Right? Make it make sense. You can't, right? So that's what we're finding from this. So there you go. There you go. A bit of good news. Now, it's not amazing news, and I know that I promoted this segment as being, it's good news, so everyone should be excited, yada, yada, yada. But I know that was quite difficult to get through in terms of understanding some of the legal language and, you know, some of the chat around that. But it is mostly good. It's mostly good. Now, I'm going to get into another bit. I'm going to get into another segment, and I'm going to talk about Zack Polanski being clipped out of context. Yes, that's right. That is what happened. I was sorely disappointed to see a bunch of people completely get this wrong in terms of, you know, taking the mainstream media and the right-wing media's, you know, view on this, right? Where everybody was saying that Zack Polanski is racist now. So let's take a look at the clip, chat. Let's see the clip here, promoted by GB Politics. Actual impartial coverage. That's definitely true, isn't it? If you know anything about this account on Twitter, it's definitely true that they're impartial. Zack Polanski on why we need migration. I don't know about you, but I don't want to wipe someone's bum. Let's have a little listen.
Most people in this audience and watching this at home will have had an experience of a care worker. 1 in 5 care workers are foreign nationals. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't particularly want to wipe someone's bum. And I'm very grateful for the people who do this work, this really important work, whether it's in the care sector, whether it's in the NHS. Most people in this
Wow, that's really racist, isn't it? He's racist and he's saying that migrants should exist so that they can wipe people's asses. That's what he's saying, isn't it? It's definitely what he's saying there. Should we have a look at the broader conversation and find out what the context is? Let's take a look at this. This is the broader conversation from BBC Question Time, where he was on Question Time during a debate, an immigration special where he was one of the only people to be against the idea of deporting absolutely everybody and stealing all their money, leaving them destitute somewhere where they just aren't allowed. They have no connections to and no ties. So let's take a little look and see what it is that he actually said.
Because you won't tell people the truth about migration.
Hang on.
You're a government of cowards because you won't tell people the truth about migration.
You frequently cry, stop the boats, smash the gangs, one in, one out. Nobody's listening anymore. I don't believe you. What are you really going to do? Because whatever has been done so far amounts to nothing.
Right, well, that is something of a cri de coeur from you, Paul, I would say. Mike.
Paul, it's a good question, and I don't know whether I've knocked on your door, but I've knocked on many doors in the constituency. I've have many of my colleagues around the...
Look at this fucking Witcher NPC, man. You've got here like a demon in a suit.
Many doors in the constituency. I've have many of my colleagues...
And this fucking Witcher-ass NPC who lives in an actual hovel in the middle of fucking, like... I don't know, man... where Leicestershire, somewhere in the countryside that you just don't... Woolham Bovington. You know what I mean? Something like that. He just lives in a fucking hovel. He's got loads of fucking money, and he's like... And he had to read off a fucking paper what it was, because like his brain is so rotted from Twitter. He had to read the post that he made about this immigration special in order to get it right. He was like... What you say that you're gonna smash the gangs and stop the boats, but you just don't. And I wonder what you're actually gonna do because you don't do any of that. Fucking hell, man.
Around the country, and we understand fully the strength of feeling that we need to bring order and control back into the immigration system, and we're taking
there is too much, yeah.
The immigration minister do too. We've made some progress. We've deported and removed nearly 50,000, and immigration working rates are now up to the highest they've been in British history. But we know we've got to go further, and you would have seen over the last few weeks some of that. So
bro, this is just so
less attractive
fucking
for people to come here, easier to deport people, which is really important. We're bringing in counter-terror powers to take on the smuggling gangs. That's just this.
Right, but this guy isn't interested in any of that. He just wants there to be... Sophie said this on Red Planet yesterday. She was like, yeah, you know... These people just want like a massive gun to be installed on the cliffs of Dover, and you just like indiscriminately fire bullets all across the channel, all over Europe against anyone. Like that's all you want. That's all they want. That's all these people fucking want. They aren't interested in any of that.
And also
yeah, why aren't you being more racist? Oh, don't worry, we're being really racist. That's what he's saying.
Looking at all solutions. So also
we're being really racist, but we can be more racist.
Safe and legal routes to ensure that
there are no legal routes.
A compassionate country, we are providing that help to people who are fleeing war and persecution. For me, we have to deal with this issue because we need to.
I hate this scum. I hate this scum
tonight.
So fucking much. Holy shit.
Chaos, and that will feed division.
You fucking disgusting snake. You fucking evil mouthpiece of empire and white supremacy. Holy fucking shit, there is no punishment in hell that is good enough for everything that you have done. Let's pretend that he's not there. Oh, the boy was doing something really cute. I was going to say, let's just look at what the boy is doing instead. But if you're on the VOD, you can rewind and look at that. He did a cute stretch.
Measures that are too
oh my god,
that close the doors completely. Again, that feeds division. We want to unite around this so that as a country we can move on and be the fantastic country that we are. I'm a true patriot, and I really mean that. And I'm a true patriot. Bringing that order and control back to the
order
system.
and control.
Paul, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I like the idea of unite. Could we all unite in this problem that we have?
Can we all unite in this problem that we have? He's saying, can we not all just be evil Hitler Nazis? Can we not all just be that? Where's he going? No, come back. All right, he'll be back in a bit, I'm sure. Yeah, looking very Grima Wormtongue. The Simpsons did an episode about how politicians use scapegoating of migrants to divert attention away from other bungles, and still these Twitter DM readers don't fucking get it. Yeah.
Could there be a cross-party coming together to solve the problem, rather than just, it's your fault, it's my fault, it's your fault?
Well, listen.
What he's saying is, can't reform just like stop attacking the Labour Party, and why can't we just have one big party where we kill all migrants? Why can't we just do that? And look, Zia Yusuf is looking smug as hell about that. He's like, yes, we should do that. We should just have one big party where there's no possibility whatsoever. By the way, Liberal Democrat Daisy Cooper, right? That's Daisy Cooper, a representative from the Liberal Democrat Party. This guy's from the Conservatives. This guy's from Labour. This guy's from Reform. The only person on this table who doesn't agree that migrants should be fed into a big meat grinder is Zack Polanski. He is the only person who doesn't agree. You fucking idiot freak.
This could be a first. Somehow, I'm not sure that's going to happen, Paul, but let's see. Zia, what's your answer to Paul?
Well, look, let's just look at what the Labour government has done. Let's look at what the Labour government has done. Over 70,000 people have arrived in the United Kingdom illegally since Labour came to power.
They all have to come illegally, Zia.
40% year on year relative to the Tory record, which was already a disaster. And notice the very smart sleight of hand that the immigration minister from Labour uses when he talks about 50,000 deportations and removals. Shall we talk about those 50,000, Mike?
Go for it.
A very tiny fraction of those are actually...
Oh my god! The guy from the fascist party is like, shall I cumster and dumpster your claim? And the Labour Party is like, yes, sir. Please, fill me in. Fill me in. Go for it, Yusuf. Go for it, Zia.
Deportations, i.e. enforced
That's why I said removals. That's why I said
so
removals.
will you accept
That's why I said removals, actually.
50,000 are what's known by the Home Office as other verified returns, which means the government literally didn't even know they were leaving until after they had left. Okay, do you know what percentage? Okay, Mike, genuine question. Mike, genuine question.
Go.
What percentage of the people who have come here illegally under Labour have been deported?
Look, what's really important...
No, please answer my question.
What's really important
what
is
percentage of those 70,000 have been deported?
50,000 have been deported since we came to power.
What percentage of the 70,000 who have come here illegally?
God, the fucking order. Where they're in Dover, right? So that's where this guy is living in his hovel, right? I'm only able to distinct reform freaks. Lib Dems, Labour, Tories might as well be the same party, just an outsider's perspective. No, yeah, absolutely. But what I'm saying, Alejandro, is that the Lib Dems, Labour and the Tories are all trying to pander to reform voters. And so they have made their, they've literally made their immigration policies far more right-wing in order to try and win back reform voters, which will obviously not happen, because the reason that people are voting reform is not just because they have far-right opinions on immigration. It is because they have far-right opinions on everything else. It's also because they have weird capitalist opinions on everything else that are just like not mainstream, and a lot of people are like, oh, we just want something different. It's why there's been such a surge to the Greens, because the Greens are A, not the main parties, and B, have a popular alternative to the fucking to the fucking mainstream parties, right? That are just like capitalist and horrible and fascist, and no one fucking wants it. Yeah, they never talk about migration on this show. It's really refreshing. It's finally being talked about. I'm so glad that we're talking about migration. No one ever mentions it, do they? They just don't.
And have been deported since we came to power.
What percentage of the 70,000 who have come here illegally?
You can do the
I'll tell
maths
you the
of
answer, 'cause either
70,000
Mike is pretending to not know or actually doesn't know. The answer is 27. The answer is 2,700 people. Just 4% of the people who have arrived here illegally under Keir Starmer's awful government have been deported. That means
hey, Day2A, how you doing?
96% are still here, so it's no coincidence.
Yes, by conceding that migration is a problem, Labour just tell their average voter that they should vote for Nazi Nigel. Yeah.
Streaming across the channel on a daily basis, Britain is a soft touch, and what Labour has done is pour gasoline on a fire that the Tories created. It is totally unfair on British people, and by the way, I include legal migrants within that equation. It is totally unfair. People are furious about it, and for you to sit here and gaslight people with fake numbers, which the Home Office does, Shabana Mahmood does, time and again, I think is totally unacceptable and insulting to British people's intelligence.
Do you want to answer that briefly before I come?
I will be brief on this. Look, we're not a soft touch, and you've seen from the sweeping reforms to the system over the last few weeks is the largest since the Second World War. When it comes to the number of deportations and removal, what Zia is doing there is he's splitting hairs, and the reason he's doing that is he understands fully that it takes time to process a claim. We've increased that by 50% so that it's quicker.
It's completely insane that this freak, by the way, was like, why can't we all just unite on the issue of kill every migrant, right? And he lives in this like bizarre fantasy world where Reform are not trying to be in power because they know that they can exploit the dying empire and strip the copper wires out of the fucking country. Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't understand this. He's just like, the biggest thing that affects me in my life, which doesn't affect me in my life, it's just because the newspapers tell me that it should be affecting me, so I believe that it's affecting me, is immigration. And so everyone needs to unite on that immigration, on this immigration issue. And why can't we all do that? It's because he's just like, I just believe whatever GB News says. I just believe whatever fucking the BBC says, man. Just so insane.
So we can remove people who shouldn't be here and help those that need it.
Lots of hands up. Let's hear from someone. The man in the blue sweater, right? Yes, there.
Evening, Mike. If you're my MP, I hate to say this, but you're talking utter rubbish. Since the 18th of September, your one in, one out scheme has only seen the removal of 153 people to date. I've watched your video where you've been in your masquerading NCA high-vis.
Fucking hell, they really brought all the freaks out on this one, didn't they? Look at this fucking freak, man. You don't fucking know what you're fucking even talking about, bro. It's so insane. It's literally like, bro, none of this affects your life in the slightest. You haven't met a single brown person ever. Ever.
While all the fools are zooming around the English Channel to dramatic Dan Buster's music, it's all theatrical nonsense.
Hey, Rob.
Because not anywhere in that video did you say any numbers. Nothing. I don't believe Labour, and I think this one in, one out scheme needs to go under the carpet with the rest of the stuff.
All right.
They used to go under the carpet with the rest of the stuff. What do you mean? He's not even using real sentences, dude.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing that stops the boats is the weather. Because if it's weather it is now, they won't come over. And that's the only reason it will stop the boats. All this about, we're going to stop the boats.
What is happening? Are they just like, here, we got like 10 Nazis. We got like 10 old fucking white Nazis. To be like, yeah, he's being like, we need more wind and rain. We need it to be more miserable so they don't come over.
It doesn't work, as far as you're concerned. All right, let me hear one person. The man in the middle in the tech shirt with the glasses.
Yeah, I just want to put the language we use is really dehumanising for people. We're just saying these statistics. Like, people are not statistics. If we look where they're actually coming from, they're war zones. Like, I know there needs to be some sort of control, but, you know, they're going all over the place.
They're coming from France.
It's just always this fucking, like, extra bit of, like, oh, I know there needs to be some kind of control. No, you liberal freak, there doesn't. Oh, my God. And then Zia just, like, interrupts this guy being like, they're coming from France. It's like, bro, it's not the Norman invasion.
But they're people, and if we look in our history, they're countries which we've had a link to. So we're cutting foreign aid. What's that going to do? You're now creating a bigger problem. I'm not saying that all of our taxes need to go on foreign aid, but we need to look at the decisions we're making. We're just slapping holes all over the place with our taxes and going, oh, let's plug this one and another one opens. The language we use is so important towards human beings.
Zack.
This is exactly right. And it's important to remember we're talking about people, and this is personal to me, and I know it'll be personal to many people watching this program. My great-grandparents lived in Latvia. They're Jewish, and we fled because of pogroms. We ended up in Ukraine. We fled again, more pogroms. Then in Nazi-occupied Poland. Then
wait, what's going on? The camera flicked to Zia when he mentioned Ukraine. Why did they do that? I swear to God, man, the fucking NATO shit, the NATO programming in the BBC is absolutely insane. Because the reason that they did that, I'm telling you right now, chat, as soon as Zack Polanski said his family had to flee Nazis in Ukraine, they flicked to Zia Yusuf to be like, look, this is what Russia wants you to think. Yes, there are Nazis in Ukraine.
Again, more pogroms. Then,
do you know what I mean? He's like, he does a little smirk because he's like, yeah, this is what Russia wants you to think.
Nazi-occupied Poland, then fled again. And this is what people have done throughout history. They have fled because they've moved because of war or persecution, or they've moved because of people they love or that they want to travel.
And do you think there should be any limits on those numbers? Judging from your manifesto, you don't.
Well, I think we need to be really clear about the numbers. This year, 800,000 people have arrived in this country. 400,000 of them have come to study. 300,000 of them have come to work and are a net contribution to our tax system.
Yes, but that's answering a different question.
Well,
the
I'm just
question
finishing.
I'm asking you, Zack.
Shut up, Fiona. Fucking hell!
From what the Greens say, though quite often you shy away from it, saying it in public, but what is written down is that you believe in a world without borders. Therefore, anyone who wants to come should be able to come. Is that correct?
So what's important to know is that when we talk about those numbers, we're talking about a policy for a sustainable society.
Okay, you haven't actually answered that.
I'm answering you right now.
Fuck off. I fucking hate the BBC. I fucking hate Fiona Bruce. I fucking hate all of these fascists. I hate the fucking Labour government. Holy shit. Every single part of living on this fucking shitty, horrible island is the worst thing ever. My God.
This is about what it looks like in the future. Yes, in an ideal world, that is the policy I would want. I recognise, though, we are not in an ideal world. We're in a world where the world is in turmoil.
Great answer.
We know that we have huge issues in our country. But the issues with the National Health Service, the issues with the lack of council homes, the issues with the society feeling broken are not the issues of migrants or someone who is clinging to a small boat. They are the issues of 14 years of conservative austerity.
Fantastic.
Continued by a Labour government.
Take it away from the fucking topic. Yes, fuck immigration as a topic. It's stupid. What are you talking about? Brilliant.
You say this is an island of strangers, but actually, you're a government of cowards because you won't tell people the truth about migration. And the truth about migration, it is a positive thing for this country. We need migration. We need fair and managed migration.
Yes!
And that's what will change this conversation.
Yes!
Woman there.
Yes! Loads of people clapping! Loads of people clapping! Everybody agrees apart from these freaks who look like this! And who cares about these freaks? You should feel more uncomfortable. Fuck me, man. It's like a broadly popular decision.
Hello there. I'd just like to ask, it's mainly men coming over. What happens to their families? What?
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. First of all, you're just wrong. I'd just like to ask the question, predicated on a lie. Yeah? I'd just like to ask the question, it's mainly men.
What's leaving the families behind? Don't you think that's strange that it's mainly men? Can you tell me how many children and women have been over?
Well, actually, we have some men in the audience who came over on small boats and are former asylum seekers. So since you mentioned that, let's hear from one of them. So, Ashraf, where are you sitting? Ashraf, there you are. Can you just, so you came over...
Okay, this is fucking mad. I never thought in a million years that the BBC would actually platform someone who came over on a small boat and is literally just being like, yeah, like this is what my life was like, bro. This is wild, and he has to like sit in this audience of fucking Witcher NPC fascists
From Afghanistan on a small boat in the last 4 or 5 years, I think.
Yes,
all the way on a boat.
So, was the UK where you wanted to claim asylum, or did you try and claim asylum in other countries
He's
on
back,
the way?
chat.
I applied for asylum. I was a refugee and I passed many interviews in different countries.
So tell us which country did you try to claim asylum in?
My first interview was in Turkey, and the second one in Macedonia, in Serbia, in Romania, Austria, and recently in Germany, but that ain't in here.
So you applied for asylum in all those countries, and they all turned you down?
These countries just reject me, and they didn't accept me.
So what do you say to the woman here who says, why is it the men that are coming, and what about their families? Why did you come on your own? And
he's gonna say, my family got fucking beheaded by the Taliban, you fucking inconsiderate freak. He's gonna say, my mum and my sister were fucking beheaded because they didn't want to wear fucking headdresses or some shit like that. I don't know, man.
What about the fact that so many men are coming?
Everybody knows my country is not safe for us. We have a war, about 15 years we are living in a war. Because of that, just we come here, and I just want to leave. And because of that, I come here.
So Zia, when you hear a story like that, for example, do you think that someone like Ashraf, despite the fact he's fleeing a war, and there are many wars around the country...
Now, this is going to be interesting because the way that, the way that this conversation goes in the USA at the moment with the kind of people who are like Zia Yusuf, the kind of people that Zia Yusuf's party is trying to make British fascists into, where they're like more bold with what they say, in the USA... is that they don't give a fuck. And I'm trying to find this clip. Because this is pretty damning of the way that the right are answering this question in the USA. Where is it? 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 Chat, do you know what I'm talking about? There's like a clip where Nick Fuentes like... There's like a Syrian chatter in his chat. And he's saying like, bro, I hate these immigrants. I'm from Syria and I hate these immigrants. And he goes like, yeah, sorry, dog, you gotta go home. You know what I'm talking about? He's just there and he's just like, you gotta go home. You gotta go home. I don't care, bro. The war's over. Go home. And obviously the war isn't over. But I'm interested to see what Zia Yusuf says in response here, because that is just the way that fascists in America are being told to respond to something like this. When an actual immigrant says to you, like, hey man, I'm like a human being and I like fled the war and shit, like the response would be to say, no, there's no war, you're lying and you need to go home. So let's see what Zia Yusuf says.
In fact, can't take everybody, they shouldn't be able to come.
Yeah, well, I don't know enough about that particular individual story, so I'll comment more broadly.
But in terms of the principle,
I think in terms of broad strokes, let me be clear. If you're entering a war zone, it's generally men first. If you're fleeing a war zone, it's generally women and children first. And the vast majority of the people coming to this country via the English Channel illegally are men. That is a statistical fact. And when people talk about language,
it's also like not a statistical fact, right? It's also like not that.
I don't know what language people are objecting to. I'm dealing with statistics, I'm dealing with data, and I think that's a sensible way to formulate policy. And I think we should use language clearly. I think we should use language accurately and fearlessly.
Okay, but just to be specific, Zia, because the reform policy is to deport all illegal immigrants in the UK within 5 years. So that would be, I mean, these are real people. That would be someone like you. And that's what you're saying, right?
If you are in this country illegally, let me be crystal clear.
Every single migrant has to come illegally. There is no way. There is simply no way for you to come here legally. There are no safe and legal routes.
If Nigel Farage...
Hey, Buddy Bebop, how you doing?
And that's obviously what we're working to deliver. If you're in this country illegally, you will be deported back to the country from which you came.
I need Zack to start coming back to this. I need Zack to start coming with this fucking response that there are no safe and legal routes. I need him to start saying that more in these discussions, because everybody needs to be aware that, like, what they're saying is that they're going to deport all migrants because there's no safe and legal routes. You have to come here illegally in order to claim asylum. That's how it goes. That's how it goes, bro.
Over 170,000 people have arrived in this country illegally since 2018. Most of that work was done by the Tories, sadly, and that is more people than arrived on the beaches of Normandy on D-Day.
Oh, it's so cynical. It's so cynical. It's just like, yeah, there's more people than arrived in Normandy on D-Day, mate. Shut the fuck up, bro. Shut up, man. What do you mean? All the fucking poppy wearers in the audience being like, oh, D-Day mentioned, brilliant. D-Day mentioned. He's one of them and he'll have to go home soon, but D-Day mentioned. Yeah, well done.
I've used the word invasion before, and people might object to that term, but the dictionary definition of an invasion is an unwanted incursion into a space of land. And I don't know.
The dictionary definition of invasion is an unwanted incursion into a space of land. I know that it isn't that. Hang on a minute. Dictionary invasion. Okay. Already, there's three different definitions, right? And I know that this is just like the Google dictionary, whatever. I don't think this is run by the AI thing. But invasion, right? An instance of invading a country or region with an armed force. This is the most popular one. That's why it's at the top, right? An incursion by a large number of people or things into a place or sphere of activity, right? And that's used in a different context, isn't it? An unwelcome intrusion into another's domain, right? And again, that's the context of something like random drug testing of employees as an unwarranted invasion of privacy, right? So what Reform 1 is for no context to apply to terms like invasion. They're like, no, it's when people go somewhere that they're not wanted. That's an invasion, right? That's an invasion. It's in the dictionary. Don't look it up.
And watching this at home will have had an experience of a care worker.
Oh, wait, what the fuck? Why am I playing that again?
What to describe it. 170,000 people arriving. By the way, what are the countries from which they are coming? They're coming from Syria, they're coming from Afghanistan, they're coming from Iraq, they are coming from Iran. Not countries that have a track record of having Britain's...
She's not even trying to interrupt him. She's not even trying to interrupt him. She's just going, all right, yeah, that's great, yeah. Oh, maybe we should, no, yeah. Maybe we should.
Okay, all right.
The British state exists to serve the British people.
I need to hear from the rest of the panel. Hang on. Daisy.
So let's be really clear. A reform government wouldn't just be throwing out people who have arrived here through irregular routes. They want to rip up indefinite leave to remain. People who have come to this country, who have earned their right to be here, who are granted leave to stay in this country, they want to throw out all of those people, ripping apart families, bringing chaos into our economy and our sector, and doing...
But the Liberal Democrats will only deport the illegal ones, which is all of them as well. Yay! Oh my God.
Something which I believe fundamentally is really un-British. Now, on the question about men coming here, I mean, this is just a straightforward fact. The reason why men often arrive in the UK on their own is because the journey is just too dangerous for women and children. When women and children go on that journey,
Navia, what's up?
A place of war and persecution, they can be subject to rape, kidnap, trafficking and slavery, and therefore often men come in advance in order the family can follow them, and that's documented by migration groups. But if I could just finish and come to the question that Paul asked right at the very beginning. I think, Paul, your question tapped into this enormous frustration that British people have on this issue. They've heard slogans. There's been, caps, migration caps that have never been met. There are so many broken promises. And I think the British people, the silent majority of British people, are crying out for politicians to come up with practical solutions.
Well, let's talk about
So let
some
me
of
try
your
and give you
solutions,
some.
Daisy. So one of yours is to set up these big Nightingale centres to clear the backlog.
Bro, that's what she's talking about. The Liberal Democrats want to create concentration camps. She's like acting like they've got like a really progressive policy, and she's like, yes, we should be really, friendly to migrants. So what we should do is put them in camps. We should make camps like Alligator fucking Alcatraz in the USA, and we should put them all in there.
And double the number of caseworkers from 2,000 to 4,000 in 6 months. How are you going to do that in 6 months?
But there are
No, so Nightingale centres. So what that refers to, Buddy Bebop, yeah, Nightingale centres, right, are basically it's difficult because there are some wards of hospitals that are called Nightingale centres that deal specifically with breast cancer, right? So it's important to not get that confused, and it's annoying that this whole thing has been like, it's a term that's been completely co-opted. So basically, Nightingale centres were named after Florence Nightingale, the nurse, obviously, but it was an idea during the pandemic, the worst of the pandemic in lockdown, to convert various different buildings. So, for example, in Manchester, we had the Petersfield Central Convention Complex turned into a hospital, right? And that's what she's referring to, a Nightingale Centre. It's just a place that is converted into a place that can house a lot of people with beds, right? And essentially what she's saying is a concentration camp. No, it's just, it's a bit of clickbait in the title, Splendinavia. I'm talking about how people clipped Zack Polanski out of context in this 15-second clip where he says that migrants are people who often do work that people don't want to do. Right? And even some left-wingers I have heard say, wow, I can't believe Zack Polanski is so racist, and it's just really embarrassing.
Remotely realistic.
I think it is. There are lots of caseworkers at the Home Office, and many of them have left because of the work pressure.
So you're going to find another 2,000 in 6 months?
I think there are many people who have left that service who you could bring back to help run this. But look, realistically, what we have to do, rather than just moving people around from hotels to, army centres or wherever it might be, we have got to drive down the backlog. And the way to do that is to rapidly expand the number of caseworkers who can process these applications.
Yeah, but you don't need concentration camps to do this. You need to change fucking housing law. It's so simple, man. It's so simple. You change housing law so that landlords can't just fucking kick out people who are awaiting an asylum decision. It's as simple as that. They're getting a fucking guaranteed rent every single month, right? The reason that migrants are shifted around into various different fucking places all the time is because landlords constantly make them homeless, and then they have to go and speak to the council and be like, I'm homeless now, and the council are like, well, not our problem, dog. And then they have to be fucking homeless, and then there are fucking homeless camps everywhere, and then the fucking homeless camps do protests and they say we want to be housed, and then the fucking council goes, oh shit, we should house them, and then they put them into a fucking hotel. And then they get fucking protested outside the hotel, so they want to leave the hotel, and then they try and get a fucking a place to live, and then the landlord kicks them out because they're allowed to do so. Like, do you know what I mean? Fucking hell.
Quickly. So if we recruit these extra caseworkers, get the backlog down, we should...
the recruiting the extra caseworkers is fine. But fuck these fucking Nightingale centres, man. Like, it's so crazy. It's absolutely cracked.
Position to stop using hotels in a matter of months. But at the same time, we need safe and legal routes for those who genuinely are fleeing war and persecution, so they can come here in a managed and compassionate way.
Say it. There are no safe and legal routes. You were so close to saying it. Fucking hell.
All wars. I mean, there are wars going on. I mean, we could list them. Yemen, Myanmar, Ethiopia, Sudan. I mean, I could go on. You want safe and legal routes for all those areas?
Let's be clear, the vast majority
that's what I'm
of people,
asking.
the vast majority of people leaving those wars go to all sorts of different countries. We don't accept anywhere near as many as a number of other
That's
countries.
good. That's a good
They
answer.
go to the country nearest them. But are you saying that we should accept people from all
I
conflict
think we need to have international agreements so that every single country is pulling their weight on this issue, and that's something that is missing at the moment.
That's also a good point.
To say was about
She's not so bad, but her party is terrible. The Lib Dems. I genuinely thought that the Lib Dems would go further left after this recent shift to the right. But the current fucking Lib Dem policy is so cracked on fucking migration. The Nightingale fucking camp shit is just mad. It's absolutely
we have people
mad.
here, and it's taking so long to process their claim. They are falling into the clutches of the very criminal gangs that are exploiting this problem. To get them out of the clutches of the criminal gangs, let's give them the right to work. If their claim isn't processed within 3 months, they can then earn their
Yes,
way
correct, Butter. They wouldn't have to pull their weight if the West stopped bombing the rest of the fucking planet. Yes.
money out of the hands of the criminals.
All right, Kieran, you're sitting here very patient. I'm going to come to you. So a little bit more from our audience. Yes, the man there, you've got a scarf around your neck, I think. I can't quite see. Yes.
With the OECD recently releasing...
You got a scarf. He's got a fucking keffiyeh on, man. Come on.
Report that says that the government's stringent immigration policies are likely to act as a brake on growth. Have the government just scored a spectacular own goal?
All right. Well, listen, we'll come to that.
That's a great question. We'll come to that. What do you mean? Answer it now!
Let me hear another point here. Yes, man here at the front in the green top.
Bro, answer it now! It's about immigration! What are you talking about?
So obviously we don't take as many asylum seekers as many other countries. Countries like Turkey take in so many more than us. Why do we keep on complaining that this is such a big issue when we take in just a small percentage of these people?
Kieran?
This guy sat next to him going, fucking woke lefty sat next to me, fucking hell.
Just pick up on the original question from Paul, because you mentioned one of the slogans that my party had, and we've been in power for 14 years, and we absolutely have got to take a share of the blame.
Every single person is coming back to this fucking freak, man. Every single person is just like, yeah, I just want to address the real concerns of this old, dying, demented freak who just listens uncritically to whatever fucking GB News says. Let me just pander, like, oh, good. The person that our think tanks have said that we should pander to is in this audience. He's in the audience, so we're all just going to fucking focus on him.
For people's cynicism about politicians' rhetoric on this issue, I absolutely accept that. Absolutely, I think, as Z has quite effectively laid out, Labour are not delivering on this issue, and things have got a lot worse. But I just have Mike, just let people speak. So I can criticise.
Bro, it's crazy. You can so clearly see the distinction between old-fashioned British racism, which is represented by this guy here, and like new wave British fascism represented by Zia Yusuf. He's just like belligerent, like just lying, just like, yeah, whatever, everyone's shit, just fucking deport them all, just get rid of everyone. And then you've got like, polite racists being like, yes, we're really sorry, we let too many people into the country, but don't worry, if the Tories get back into power, we'll just shoot them all, right? Fucking hell, man.
No, but actually, I think you probably don't want to hear that much from a Conservative politician. I know when I say that to people, they say, well, you're in charge and, you didn't fix it. So what I'm really focused on is what is our genuine, concrete plan that I think does represent an overhaul in how we deal with these issues. For example, taking us out of the European Court of Human Rights, I think is absolutely fundamental to allow us to take that.
Oh, bro. They all want to do this, and it's just so that they can do crimes against humanity in this country. Yeah, just bring it all back, baby. Bring it all back. Bring it all back. We're just going back to the colonial times. That's what you want. It's so good. We're just going to be able to do so many crimes against humanity. I can't wait. We're going to be able to put all kinds of people in all kinds of camps. Oh, my Are they shipping people to Rwanda? Yeah, I think they are.
Control of our borders.
No.
Too many things that we would like to do, we won't be able to do. For example,
Hey, gotta start.
if we wanted
Good
to
to
send
see you,
someone
man.
back to a country who shouldn't have come here and they don't want to leave, they can say that because the healthcare in the country that we're sending them to isn't good enough, we can't do that. That was clearly never. It's not nonsense. Absolutely true. Article 3. Article 3.
Zack Polanski and Daisy Cooper, like, you are lying.
Three claims that originally were intended to prevent people from suffering from torture and inhumane treatment are now used to say that if you send me to a country where I can't access the healthcare that I need, that counts as inhumane treatment.
In
That's one
45
example.
years, the
So,
EU
I love that you can see like the two kinds of opposition to this stuff right now. As I said, Daisy Cooper's party, the Lib Dems, have tried to do some kind of reform baiting themselves, so they're not great, right? Don't trust the Lib Dems. You can't trust them, yeah? But she's reacting in this like really sarcastic manner, which is like fair enough. Like if she is actually like against this kind of shit, then good for her, but she's in the wrong party for it. Zack Polanski is there like he's like scowling at these freaks. He's like
So if I can just finish, Daisy, and then the second point is that actually I think because there is such a level of cynicism about governments around this issue, our policy is to say that MPs directly should be voting on what that cap on migration looks like, so that you're directly in control. In terms of some of the other ideas that the panel have talked about, Fiona, I think you picked up the...
I think if there was a vote, right? I think if there was a vote to this dude's favorite meal, toast. No, man. No. I am absolutely fine with other working class people taking the piss out of our working class plain food that we have in the UK. I myself had a crisp butty on Saturday night, yeah? But this motherfucker is not working class, yeah? This guy doesn't eat toast. He eats swan. This motherfucker eats swan with like crocodile eggs and like ostrich feather consomme and shit like that. Don't be talking about fucking this guy eating beans on toast. My man has never seen a bean in his fucking entire life. The only kind of bean this guy has seen is fucking fava beans when he's eating children alive. Yeah?
The key point. If you have safe and legal routes, so if anyone that wants to come to this country can come to this country, around the world there are about 100 million people living in displacement, internally or externally. There are 8 million people that want refugee status.
We haven't got 8 million people coming to the UK.
68% of people go to the
It's the wrong
neighbouring
thing
country,
to do to pick.
68% of
It's the
people.
wrong thing to do to pick someone who's got absolutely a potentially a valid claim and say that we shouldn't bring in.
Right, so interesting. So what they've done is they've said that every one of the panelists is going to have like, one thing to say. But surprisingly, what the BBC are doing is they're trying to show themselves to be impartial by letting all the representatives of all the different political parties have a say, show their opinion and stuff like that. But what you'll notice actually is that the Labour and the Reform representatives got to do it twice, didn't they, in this little segment? Yeah. And Zack Polanski only got to speak once, and he was interrupted multiple times. Daisy Cooper got to speak once, and she was interrupted, right? So you can see the further right wing it goes, the less interruptions you get, right? So that's the way that the BBC is trying to show that it's been impartial here. But funnily enough, it hasn't showed the full, in context, bit about Zack Polanski talking about not wanting to wipe people's bums, right? I'm just going to replay this for the people, the new people in the chat who weren't here when we first showed it.
Most people in this audience and watching this at home will have had an experience of a care worker. 1 in 5 care workers are foreign nationals. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't particularly want to wipe someone's bum. And I'm very grateful for the people who do this work, this really important work, whether it's in the care sector, whether it's in the NHS.
Wow. Clipped out of context, basically. So they didn't show this bit in the official BBC news. Now, I wonder why that is. Would it be... Would it be because the right-wing press are having a field day with it? Wow. Wow. Yeah, is it because that is what's happening? Spiked here, who we, of course, saw earlier talking about women's rights, didn't we? We saw them talking about women's rights and how they really care about that stuff. Saying here, Zack Polanski's bum-wiping quip was a mask-off moment. Why does the left think it's compassionate to leave the nation's dirty work to poorly paid migrants? Oh! Absolutely fucking cumstered and dumpstered by Patrick West, columnist. So that's why that is. Now, here's the trick, chat. I'm not actually going to show you the in-context bit of this, because I know that you all know that actually what Zack was saying here is that, yes, you actually have to understand the fact that when migrants come here, they don't get an easy fucking ride. They don't immediately get a fucking PS5 as soon as they fucking turn up at the shores of Dover. You know what I mean? They actually are met often by racist freaks who camp out there and say, get back, and they get attacked and all this kind of stuff. And then they have to like find somewhere to fucking live. They have to hitchhike to get to a main city like London. And then when they get to London, they often just kind of like wander around and don't really know where to find anything and try and ask people in broken English like what to do, where to go. And that is if they aren't picked up by human traffickers or, you know, people who want to exploit them for modern slavery, right? You know what I mean? So that is what, in fact, he was referring to with that. So, where are we up to, chat? We're 4 hours in. And, unfortunately, because I left it too late... That's too loud. That's way too loud. Why did I fucking put it all the way up there? Because I left it too late to start the stream today, because I was late. Unfortunately, it is time for the end. But... you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I really appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you so much for supporting me. I really appreciate it after the month that I had last month. Absolutely terrible. So thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you so much for being here. And we're going to go raid someone. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to cover the economy crashing tomorrow, because hopefully I will have... woken up a bit earlier. Fingies crossed. We will be able to cover a full amount of news stories tomorrow. But thank you so much for everyone who supported. Thank you for all the donors. Thank you for all the subs. Thank you just for being here. Really appreciate all of you for being here. Thank you, lurkers, and thank you, VOD watchers. I look forward to reading your comments on the VOD. Yes, I'll be here tomorrow, 6 p.m. We'll be covering the news, whatever's happened, and all that kind of business. We're going to go and raid Dead Domain, who is just hanging out while they're editing. Join me for the raid. Please don't go anywhere. Please don't leave before we do the raid. Because the more people that are in the raid, it makes me look cooler. It makes people go, wow, that looks like a fun stream to be in. There were loads of people in that stream. and I should go to that stream because it looks really fun, and that's how that works, right? So I appreciate you staying for the raid. We're gonna go and raid now, but yeah, honestly, thank you so much for all the support tonight. Really appreciate you. I will see you all tomorrow. Mwah! Stay excellent to each other. Peace, 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 peace. Good night.